Frequencies are open. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Last Excelsior with the StreamPunks. We're very excited to get jumping in tonight. We don't have a Noir tonight because Noir's body was like, "Hey, no, not tonight."
It was me.
Yeah,
Eric trying to cover for me. It was me. I took out Noir.
As it turns out, yes. As it turns out, phasers don't stun at close range, as we discovered this evening. But yeah. Judging from what Noir told me, there is a lot of revenge being plotted. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that all plays out. You
can try your best, Noir.
I can hear him shouting right now. So before we jump into tonight's session, just a real quick shout out and find out if anybody here has ever heard of somebody named Omnia. Omnia is somebody who is part of the extended Ox Crew family, and since time beyond memory, back in the days, I think as far back as our first sessions of Clear Skies, maybe even the end of Shield of Tomorrow, I'd have to look. But Omnia has been keeping me, the game master, up to date with every star date that this game has actually plotted, and has matched every single time we have done an episode, has kind of kept the continuity and sent me star dates. And it's been incredibly helpful. And I don't feel like I shout Omnia out enough. So I just wanted to take a moment before we started the announcements tonight to give a big shout out to Omnia, who's always just throwing those star dates at me and helping me gather my GM notes, because it came in handy tonight when I was preparing the game. So thank you again, Omnia. With that, I'm going to toss this over to the players here. Does anybody have any announcements or anything that they would like to announce? Yes, Caitlin.
Hi. I haven't pitched this in a while, and I really probably should have, because we just had the season 2 finale of Thin Places Radio like a month ago, and I don't think I ever announced it, but we did. It's a very good episode. We have a familiar voice joining us in one Omar Najam. He does a great job. It is such a good episode. Not to toot my own horn, but I think it's amazing. If you haven't listened to it, TPR is a 10 minutes or less kind of haunted radio show style thing. All the phone calls are real phone calls, so you can check that out. We are on pretty much every podcast platform. You can find us just Thin Places Radio. I love it. Season 2 was a blast. It took us a while to finally finish it, but we did. And I wanted to make sure to shout that out. And my other announcement is that my roommate got me this. It's still in the package. It's a Star Trek font pack.
Nice.
It is probably the best. That's what I got up to go get, because I was like, I actually need to show everybody this.
Nice.
It says Microsoft Windows 3.1 supported or later. So I think I will not be opening this. This is going to stay in this package. This is my most prized possession now. But I wanted to show that off.
Can I share too quick?
Yeah.
So my friend Maria over at Cherry Tree got me this awesome DS9 coffee mug. Which is pretty rad that they make now at Cherry Tree. That's pretty rad. And as it turns out, they're also making keycaps over at Cherry Tree. If you're not familiar with those, keycaps are just like these little things you can put on top of your keys, and they just plug right into onto your keyboard. And they over at Cherry Tree, they are making Lower Decks keycaps, and I have to show you. Check them out.
Oh my god. It's fully just a little guy. Okay.
Yeah, it's my guy. Yep. So head over to Cherry Tree, and don't forget to use 16-bit Eric 6 for 6% off, as they are selling these now. Yeah, I'm such a fan of Rutherford. Rutherford is like the best. All right, so that's my stuff. Anybody else have any other announcements tonight?
Do I have announcements? Just follow me on socials. I did a recording session for a thing that I can't talk about just yet, but it's going to be coming out soon.
That's fair.
So this is my announcement of an announcement, I guess.
Bringing that Bonnie energy in here.
So check that out. Again, as always, check out Lost Omens Divine Mysteries. It was a cool thing I got to write. Literally just came up in chat, the Twitch chat just now, so very, very much on time. Check it out if you like to see the gods I wrote, the giant gods and Lameshtu, the mother of monsters, was all my doing there. Yeah, I think that's everything. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Drac. I just realized there is one thing I need to announce that I keep forgetting to announce because I'm just not used to doing this. But this month, February 19th, my comic with Dark Horse Comics, Stranger Things, The Rise of Hellfire.
Yes.
Issue 1 is coming out. It is the backstory of Eddie Munson, just one of the greatest freaking characters ever. The issue 1 is going to be out. There's going to be 4 variant covers, so check them all out. They're all fantastic. And yeah, at your local comic book shop. I wrote that with Jaddy. I don't remember her name. Jody Hauser. And yeah, check it out at your local comic book shop. Okay. Anybody else have anything else before we start? Yeah, Sam.
There's a secret puppy.
Oh. When Sam leans in like that, it's either going to be really cute or there's a death threat coming. Like every time Sam leans into the camera,
I'm going to destroy you. There's a comic puppy.
There you go. Neither one is at balance.
Was that the announcement, Sam?
Yes.
That is perfect. Okay. That is perfect. All right. So Sam wins the best announcement for the evening. With that, we're going to go ahead and kick off tonight's episode of The Last Excelsior. Welcome back. All right. So to pick up the story, not exactly right where we left off, tonight's episode begins 2 weeks after the previous episode. And to answer some of the players' inquiries about what's been going on, 2 weeks ago, if y'all remember, there was a rescue staged of Cadence, getting Cadence off a Vorcha-class Klingon battlecruiser that had just snatched Cadence right out of their Peregrine fighter and had just skipped town with them. Cadence was able to learn a few things, but upon return to the USS Pride, discovered that they didn't remember anything that had happened in the time from which they were beamed over to the vessel to when they had returned. They weren't the only one experiencing memory gaps. Most of the crew was having difficulty remembering that anything like that had happened and that they had had the encounter at all. Computer databanks were showing also variable information that wasn't confirming whether or not you guys had encountered another vessel at all. However, you were able to cross-reference with the subspace platform into which you all encountered, and they were able to confirm that the USS Pride did come out of warp, that Captain Jaron basically came out of warp issuing a challenge to an unknown vessel for the return of a Starfleet officer, and they logged all of that. Now, during the last episode, our Captain Jaron also had sort of a crisis of faith and was thinking about the possibility of stepping away from Starfleet for a while. Mind got changed by a close friend and subordinate. Upon your return, as you were stepping back into the Pride, the moment Cadence came within proximity of that twisted hull that you have all that's been laid out in the main cargo bay that has been now has now been upgraded to the flight deck of the USS Pride. What we discovered was that Cadence suddenly had all of their memories come flooding back to them. So the aftermath of that, there has been no sign, no trace of this Klingon vessel, and the trail has gone cold. The one thing that lingers and is particularly interesting and somewhat confusing about all of this is that there is actually no record of this Klingon house. Now, if y'all remember, there was questions as to whether or not y'all were raising questions about the history of this Klingon house, specifically with the Diktok dagger that you had, that Cadence was given and told to remember. One thing I will give you in between that time is, as it's been reported to Starfleet and there's been an internal investigation of what's going on, there's no record anywhere of a house named Macro. And that's that. It's been a quiet 2 weeks since that incident has happened. The USS Pride has gone on a few missions that have been pretty standard and rather quiet. Most of them have been delivery missions, fulfilling her role as a ship that is in reserve fleet. You guys have just been doing the menial missions of back and forth, and in that time have been constantly running drills with Griffin Wing. But today is particularly special. In command of the vessel is our very own Commander Hata Ben, currently sitting in the captain's chair. Acting Captain's Log, stardate 60964.38. The USS Pride is conducting patrol operations along the borders of Romulan space. We anticipate a quiet mission and are utilizing this time to conduct Griffin Wing operations as demonstration of the Wing's advantages for these mission types. Captain Jaron has taken a brief leave, and I'm looking forward to reporting to him that his crew has performed admirably and with efficiency upon his return. I am also very much enjoying how comfortable this chair is. Our scene opens up on the main bridge with Commander Hata Ben sitting in center chair. Just as she has taken that chair, the holographic, I should say the containment field that allows her to essentially surround herself in an aquatic environment, in a contained aquatic environment, has just been carefully evaporated by the holo projectors. And this is, by the way, a quick reminder to anybody who is listening. The USS Pride did take the dual environments feat, which allows it to use replicator technology to create minor force fields to help anybody who is from an extreme environment and requires special considerations to automatically be able to program themselves in a very nice little containment field of their very own so they can move about the ship without any problems. In this case, Hata Ben is taking full advantage of this. When she takes her seat, the force field evaporates all of the replicated water that she has surrounded herself by, and just slowly pulls off, even out of the very fabric of her uniform, and even just enough off the surface of her skin to leave her moisturized and feeling nice and refreshed. So you just watch this iridescent glow fill around her for a brief moment, and just as about the same time that she takes her seat, the field is completely gone. Sitting at the helm, right now, you guys are on the edges of space, and at the moment, ship status is, you guys are on the edge of Romulan space, and the ship status is that Cadence, you and Griffin Wing are getting ready to launch for day 2 of the operations. As a quick heads up, today Griffin Wing is going to be proceeding to 3 points, Alpha, Beta, and Gamma. And you will be leading the way, warping to each nav point, followed by the USS Pride, which is going to linger somewhat behind. You're going to be basically functioning as, think of it just like a carrier mission, basically. Carrier is going to be kind of lingering behind. You'll be reporting back and just scouting it out. Y'all are going to be able to cover a swath of space that a lone starship could not cover. Even with long-range sensors and being able to keep a big eye out, you're going to be able to react faster. And that's the goal for today, in case anything goes down. And right now, we're going to pick up panning away from the main bridge all the way down into the USS Pride. We move across the many decks of this old ship to the main hangar bay, the very aft of the ship, where right now the Griffin Wing members are all assembled around you, Cadence, having just been given their mission briefing by you. Everyone is just looking at their data pad and confirming their roles. Ursao is just talking shit right now, as always, with Devour. And each one of the Griffin Wing members are getting ready to head back to their prospective Peregrine Falcons fighters. Marcel walks over to you and says, "Hey, so I wanted to ask you something before we headed out there today."
No ice cream until after the mission, Marcel. We've talked about this.
That's so much better than what I was going to bring up. No,
All right, well, then I guess that's it.
Yeah, no, I think we're going to leave it at that.
Okay, sounds good. Good
Teasingly,
meeting.
she actually commits to the gig and turns and starts heading to her fighter with a sly smile on her face.
Yeah, well, I'm not the one with the questions, so
She waves and looks over and she'll just, "No, really, it's something that can wait."
piece of shit. Okay, I need to make an insight command check. No, you're good, baby.
Okay.
Chill.
All right, go ahead, make an insight command check. I'll set the
Yeah.
difficulty of this at 1.
I'd like to
Believe we-
put my leadership into this as a
Okay.
focus, because I feel as commander of the wing, I'm sensing some nonsense here. All right, that gives us 2 successes, which brings our momentum pool up to 2.
Okay.
1 for
Is it-
close knit crew, 1 for the net success.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Is it something that can actually wait?
With 2 successes, you are going to know what she was going to ask about.
Hmm.
It's one of those moments where you think it's kind of a lighthearted thing, but as the expression on her face as she's walking away across the flight deck and putting on her Starfleet jacket and zipping it up, getting ready to head into the Peregrine, I should say. As she's getting ready to head into the Peregrine, as you watch her walk away, you realize she was going to ask you about Sultani. There's been no updates, no news, no nothing. He's pretty much been just persona non grata. He's not been seen on the flight deck and has been spending a lot of time confined to quarters until further notice.
Okay.
You were anticipating that eventually she was going to start asking. More of a curiosity thing than anything else.
Well, if you don't have the chutzpah to ask, you don't get the answers. So if it's
And I know it.
given that I'm not perceiving something immediately urgent, I'm not gonna let the little, "Oh no, I'm not really gonna ask a woo" get to me.
I too hate
Nah,
that.
that's Marceau being Marceau.
I fully support Cadence in this.
Yeah. So here we are. So Cadence will carry on the bluff.
Okay.
Happy flying, Marceau.
She just gives an idle wave back over her shoulder and continues committing to it. And steps up into her Peregrine. One by one, the Griffin Wing is all getting inside of their respective vehicles. You can see a lot of the deck gang moving about everybody getting set up, the main doors, those big bulbous back doors that have been modified to accommodate the squad, the wing, I should say, slowly start to open, revealing the slight glow of the force field on the edges of the outer doors, but the beautiful backdrop of space waiting for you beyond.
Look at that pristine, beautiful space. All right, Griffin Wing, time to go cause some chaos in it.
All right. And with that, Griffin Wing one by one sets out. And you guys launch. As you do, to Aeon, you get readouts coming through your console, indicating that Griffin Wing has launched. You see every fighter has now been launched out the vessel and is moving into formation.
Commander, looks like all the Griffin Wing is out and ready to go.
Good. This is USS Pride to Griffin Wing.
Hi, this is Griffin 1. What do you have for me, Big Bird?
Just wishing you a very happy flight. We'll be following a few, maybe a light year or so behind you to give plenty of space between the two.
Much appreciated. Though I'm sure whoever you got flying that bird will manage to park her without bumping into my tailpipe. You've got someone who can fly that, don't you?
There's a smile that comes across Hata's face as she seems to be quite aware that she has been made an unwitting victim in what is definitely a pissing contest between siblings, and decides to chime in and says, there appears to be someone sitting at the helm.
Oh, God. Glad we've gotten that far. Best of luck to you now that all the good pilots are out of there. See ya! I'd like to engage warp on see ya.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So with that, Griffin Wing falls into formation behind you and jumps to a short warp to nav point Alpha. And there is a reaction from Avrali on the other side of the bridge. The Andorian, as they're just sitting there at their science station, just shakes their head and just hoo. And with that, Griffin Wing, you jump. It is indeed a short hop at warp 1. You arrive in a few minutes. Griffin Wing comes out of warp. You hear Marceau say, Griffin Wing, check in. Everybody here? Nobody blew up? One by one, you hear Morant say, here, still in one piece. Rulon, here, still in one piece. Devar, yep. Looks like I'm still alive.
Excellent. Those are the operating parameters we look for on a mission. Sensor Bird, you want to take a quick look around, see if there's anything fun?
Who is flying Sensor Bird?
Let's...
You get to decide.
Yes. Okay. I can roll 1d4 about that.
Do it. Who says you can't roll a 1d4 in Star Trek Adventures?
People whose opinions I don't care about, I presume. That'd be Devour. Imagine telling
Devour,
Kate and
our
Stephanie
favorite
they
Tellarite.
Top 5.
Okay.
So this is a command check on me for that.
Yep.
Let me just make sure I got what I'm supposed to be doing.
Bar says, copy that. Griffin 5 moving into point, opening up the sensor dome. Go ahead and make that scan. Difficulty
Yep,
1.
Yep, DC 1 presence command from me to order as a wing action. All right, that's let's see, presence command. Oh, I actually do have to double check my numbers on that. Because we're right on the ball there. Yeah, that one doesn't quite come in, but we get the one. That's all I needed.
All right.
Yeah,
So
good enough. That's what we're about here in Griffin Wing.
Sensor ping goes out. It's quiet. You're just listening to the subtle hum. And then there's a jarring breaking of the silence as you hear this very heavily digitized synthetic voice coming through your computer. Commander, would you like me to also conduct a scouting operation?
Analysis of how that fits into our mission parameters.
I'm sorry, Commander. I'm not aware of our mission parameters.
Access, mission briefing, analyze, and confirm mission parameters.
Done.
You give
Commander,
a
I
little
don't think there would
missile-shaped
be
drone a
any need to
fish.
launch for a sensor scan at this point.
Oh, there we are. See, you worked it out all yourself, Peaches. I'm proud of you.
Dead quiet.
Devour, any word on the scans? You gonna leave us in
Looks like
suspense?
a whole lot of nothing out here, Commander.
Ah,
Lots of pretty, but a whole lot of nothing. And then there's y'all.
aw. Hey, don't say that about yourself. We'll count you amongst the pretty.
You hear Rulon chime in and say, "Hey, Commander, did you and Marceau fly together in the Dominion War?"
Oh, that sure sounds like something that'd be a matter of public record, eh?
I just didn't feel like snooping around somebody's personnel file. Thought I'd ask, start conversation.
Fair enough. That's pretty wise. Never know what you catch by accident. Did I ever tell you about the time I accidentally snooped Starfleet Intelligence's personnel file? See, they were posing as a petty officer. Spoilers for this story. They were not a petty officer, it turns out, and you get a lot of questions from Starfleet security as to why you're poking around in that. All that's to say, yeah, that was wise. Rulon, that was wise.
Yeah, guess who their first call was, too. Let me tell you something. There's nothing like being woken up in the middle of the night by your former wingman. Letting you know that they got busted sneaking around Starfleet security files.
Yeah, snitch.
Scan complete. You hear Devar say, "Yep, nothing out here, Commander, except for us. Think we can move
All
on
right.
to Beta."
Pass the results along to Big Bird. Give him a green light to come through.
Sending them on.
Everyone, let's start spinning up the warp drives for the next hop.
You can hear the engines immediately just as they start spinning up. And on that note, on the other side of this, back at the USS Pride, I don't know what that is. Everyone's reacting to it, and I have no idea what it is. Back on the USS Pride, you see coordinates coming in through the helm. Tactical, you're also getting some information coming through as well, and so is the science station. Y'all are all seeing that Griffin Wing is moving on to the next waypoint, and that currently there's a whole lot of nothing out here for many light years.
Permission to move forward, Commander.
Commander says, "Proceed. Set course
do.
to
Setting
waypoint
course.
Alpha Warp 1.
Warp 1 engaged.
About the time you guys going to be warping in is Griffin Wing going to be warping out, so you'll catch some flashes there. But you get to see the beautiful Excelsior class leaving warp a few moments after you've signaled back to the Pride, indicating that this is a clear section of space. It's going to be a long day, Cadence. There's at least 3 more trips like this today, traveling to there's probably about a total of 12 waypoints in your future of y'all just flying around running patrols. You remember back in the old days, patrols weren't quite this quiet back then.
Well, you know what makes a much longer day? A day I'm stuck on the big bird and I don't get to fly. This is fantastic by comparison. I can take my little orbital zoomies.
All right.
Which is to say, I'm going to take my orbital zoomies.
Okay. You jump to waypoint beta. Warping out, you watch on the view screen as you see Griffin Wing one by one, these little brief, small flashes of the warp field taking effect as they warp out at warp 1. Evrali confirms, yep, looks like there's nothing here, Commander. Kind of boring, really.
Do we doubt the Griffin
I'd like to
Wing's
take a
scanning
point of threat.
capability?
Like,
Don't worry, I was about to do it on your behalf.
I'm sorry. So sorry to.
It's okay. No, it's okay. It's okay. Savine just said, do we doubt the Griffin Wing's scanning capability, Lieutenant?
Evrali looks back at you and there's a moment where they consider that and they go, hadn't really thought about it. I'm not really sure what the scanning capabilities of a peregrine are. They're not
Perhaps
science
that's
vessels, right?
No, but they are equipped with very specific specialties. Perhaps something to look into.
They nod. Say, why were you asking?
You double checked.
Oh, I confirm everything. That's all.
Very smart, very intelligent.
Also, anytime we ever enter a new sector of space, standard procedure to initiate any kind of scan. So it might as well just be confirmation. Confirmation time.
Bean just nods. Very much not a conversational part. It just was like, did you doubt them? No, it was just protocol. Okay, cool. Like it's like,
Yeah.
all right.
However, Evrali seems to be very excited to talk to you about this.
Oh, of course, of
And
course.
half facing their console and half facing you now, kind of sitting sideways at the science station, having scanned and seen really nothing out there.
Tavine's a
Kinda-
great listener. If Tavine will like engage in like hums and nods very much, but she's not quite the best conversationalist, but she's a great listener. So if I feel like that's something that's happened before, is that Evrali likes to like share and
Oh,
Tavine
yes.
is right there, and so I feel like this is something that happens
Evrali
today.
immediately starts going off about how much water vapor is actually free floating in space that most scanners don't pick up, and how it actually could be the indicator of impact craters, specifically deep impact craters that are causing these water vapors to be blown off of planets, and can actually help locate you can actually with the Federation database, it's becoming more and more, the Federation database is making it easier and easier to actually pinpoint a rough estimate of which star sector certain water vapors that are being detected by long-range sensors are coming from, because each one has its own bacterial like signature that you can find on certain types of class worlds. And it's really just a matter of deduction of finding out exactly where it's coming from. And it starts just going on and on and on and on and on. And Commander Ben doesn't do anything to stop them and just lets them carry on, is looking at the data pad and just confirming, handing it over to the yeoman, and just letting Evrali absolutely have the run of the bridge right now and just talk about this. Probably also because Hata Ben also has an appreciation of water, we'll say. So meanwhile, Griffin, as you jump out of warp, arriving at beta, again, you see the vastness of open space. Conducting scan.
Look, we're not here to shoot things, we're here to scan things. So we're scanning our little afts off.
Marceau pipes up and you hear her say with kind of a half joke cadence, "That's fine with me. I've gotten my fill of shooting things."
That is correct. We all have, and we don't want that here. If Starfleet is Starfleeting, well, none of us has to do that.
You hear Devron say, "Conducting scan."
That we have to do if Starfleet's starfleeting well. All right.
Rulon chimes in again, and you hear her say, Moranth, do you ever talk? You're so quiet on comms every time we're flying. And Moranth chimes in, I've learned to keep comm chatter to an absolute minimum unless you absolutely need to speak. Ooh, you hear Rulon just say, oh, well, excuse me.
Hey, that's more wisdom than every single pilot and the rest of this wing put together, isn't it?
Maybe.
We could learn from Moranth. We won't, but we could. And we should. You know, as Lieutenant Commander, I'll take responsibility for that we should, and yet. Moranth, I just need to know you're on the right side of history, and I need you to know I know.
There's some laughter and chuckles. Then Rulon says, hey, Commander, what's going to happen to Sultani? And Marceau immediately jumps in and goes, nope, we're not touching that one, Rulon. You put it down and talk about literally anything else, but you're not filling our airwaves with that right now, all right?
Yep.
Copy that.
Scan done yet?
Well, according to the computer, no, Commander. But a few more moments here.
The correct answer was yes for a distraction. Oh, hey, look, a distraction. I'm gonna just do a quick barrel roll.
Okay.
Try to get a giggle out of my
The
wing.
starfield in front of you just spins beautifully and just kind of creates the starfield of a spiral, and then it comes right back to leveled off. Moranth follows in suit. All right, can you all do it coordinated, though? Marceau issues the challenge.
I will flip end over end to just look back at my wing.
All right, Griffin Wing. Marceau says, let's see if we can coordinate this. 3, 2, 1. Sound good? Devar says, do I have to participate in this nonsense? I'm running a scan here.
Sensors still work upside down.
Commander's orders. Sorry, Devar. Got to flip. This is ridiculous. I'm not a stunt pilot.
Yes.
You hear Rulon chime in. You think flipping is stunting? That's not stunting. All right.
And a 5, and a 6, and a 5, 6, 7, 8.
You see Griffin Wing sloppily, just like offbeat, flip, flip, flip. Marceau is precision as she does a quick spin. Everyone else is just like a beat or two off. Devar says, I don't need sensors to tell that was just awful. And that's not me being a Tellarite. That was awful.
You know, human over here does have to agree. That was, you know the good thing. There's at least no one on Big Bird saw that. Eric, what do I have to do to make a Frawley have seen that?
Just tell me.
There you go.
Meanwhile, back on the bridge of the USS Pride, Arvali squints as they look down at the console in front of them and says, that's strange. Huh. That's weird. Commander Ben swivels in her chair and says, Lieutenant, what's weird? Oh, it looks like sensors are detecting, but maybe it's a glitch. I'll bring it up on the main view screen. Up on the main view screen, you see a long-range scan. It's not a visual, but you see Griffin Wing looks like it's glitching out and looks like you can see the flipping happening on the view screen in the tactical display. Anybody who has any kind of helm operation, you would know immediately what's happening.
Devine squints and says, not a glitch, Lieutenant. They appear to be doing barrel rolls.
What is that?
Why are they doing that?
Tavine
No, Avrali is
spins
like,
in
what?
her chair. Tavine does like just lets her chair spin around in a circle.
Mm-hmm.
Like so. But in space.
Avrali does this thing every now and then where when genuine confusion sets in, it's never condescending. It's always like, it's the Andorian version of a question mark appearing above their head. And you watch their antenna just kind of like almost cross as They tilt their head and look at you like, why? Because it's fun?
For fun, usually.
Oh, the antenna is straightened up again. That makes sense. And they turn back to their...
I expect the scanning is not the most entertaining while they wait for things to come back.
That's
and knowing
silly.
Cadence, they perhaps did a flip.
Raleigh, you can see the judgment on their face, shaking their head. Well, listen, everybody does their job. I appreciate every job that everybody does. But scanning is one of the best things there is. So that's all I'm saying. It's great. You get to see things. Lots of things out there, very far away. Sometimes up close.
I expect when they see nothing, then perhaps they get a little bored. Just a hunch. And she turns back to her to the helm, you know, not dismissively, but in like a just.
Dvar confirms completion of the scan. Whole lot of nothing out there.
All right, good. Then everyone prepare to warp to position Gamma. But first, we're trying that again. I don't ever want to see anything like that anywhere Big Bird could possibly see. And we're not usually a star system away. So, 5, 6, 5, 6, 7. I'm going to flip with them this time.
Okay.
Maybe then they will get the idea. Like, it's one of those things where in a dance class, you'll have the dance instructor up at the front of the class mirroring all of the movements.
Right.
So that they do it on the correct side.
So, Marceau, not surprising, Marceau, who knows how to anticipate your flying, is in perfect unison with you. And the others, it's better this time, but it's a little laggy.
All right. I would like
to rage.
Roll Presence Con.
Okay.
Third time's the charm. Let's go.
I mean, clearly we simply need more training. This is what I'm learning. And so I need to lead my wing to glorious victory of literally being able to do a coordinated barrel roll. You're supposed to be the best small craft pilot Starfleet has to offer. And if they saw us right now, what would they think? I'm taking a point for a cool con.
Okay. Excellent.
Oh, Eric, you just missed out in the worst way. All you had to do was be like, I'm spending threat to increase the complication range. You would have gotten 3 of those pupsters. Unfortunately, you didn't do that, and I get to re-roll because of the cool. And now we get 1 success.
Okay. It is much better this time around as you have them flip yet again. Each of them rolls, and the lagginess this time, what makes it feel a little smoother is everyone starts the exact same moment, so it makes it look nice and coordinated, but they don't end at the exact same moment. So it's just a little, it's passable. It's something you would have seen at an air show for sure. It's totally doable, but it's not Blue Angels. It's not anybody flying with that expert precision. Could use a little work.
All right. Proceed to point Gamma. Maybe we'll be ahead enough of Big Bird. We'll get some more We're going to have to do some advanced maneuvers. I've clearly under-drilled everyone. You're going to be breathing simulator air for the next week of your lives now that I know this.
You can hear Dvar groaning on comms immediately.
Or we're going to get to point Gamma. We're going to do 1 roll, and it is going to be the most perfect thing I've ever seen. And those are our options. And we have all the way until we warp there for y'all to figure out which one you want. Griffin 1 to Big Bird. You're free to come through. We're proceeding to point Gamma.
Okay. Understood. Proceed.
All right. Light him up, Griffin.
And once again, Griffin sets course, warp 1, and leaps into warp. setting course for nav point Gamma. On the other side, about the time you guys are warping out is when you see warping in the USS Pride. You all once again catch the quick flashes of the warp signatures of Griffin Wing warping out. This point, we'll say a couple of hours have passed if y'all doing this. Nav point Gamma is a little farther away this time, so it takes a little while to get there. But at this point, some time passes as you're all able to just kind of quietly move about ship day operations. Again, 2 weeks of quiet, repetitive motion of just doing the work. It's been a nice change of pace again. After about 45 minutes or so, you come warping out, arriving at nav point Gamma. And the first thing you see waiting for you when you get there is the spectacular sight of a Class D nebula waiting for you. It is a reflection nebula, glowing bright blues and deep purples, about 120 light years in size. So it fills up the sky in front of you. Temperatures are immediately reading that they're off the charts at about 30,000 Kelvin inside the nebula itself. But you basically see a bunch of superheated dust that has formed this amazing celestial light show in front of you. As you all have arrived on location, the first thing you hear upon arrival is Moranth, who is always quiet. You hear her just go, "Oh, wow." Navarra says, "Now you're talking. We're not supposed to fly into that thing, though, right? We're just scanning out here. Nav point's just ahead."
Not in our mission briefing, is it?
No, looks like it is a charted nebula. A series of numbers that are just written across. It hasn't been named anything special yet. But it is a gorgeous piece of celestial paint splashed across the night sky. It is literally just a great dust cloud of 120 light years in size. It's casting this fantastic blue-purple glow across all of space. You can catch the gleam of stars amidst the nebula itself that are creating these big white puffballs of celestial light. It's quite the sight to see. And to be up close to it like this in a peregrine is kind of a unique opportunity. Y'all are getting to see it in about as raw of a form as you can outside of a starship.
About the Veil Nebula for scale in terms of nebula dimension.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a little bit larger than the average.
Oh, yeah, very substantially.
Mm-hmm.
But very, very, very far from the largest. Orders of magnitude smaller.
Looks like Starfleet charted this nebula about 45 years ago. It hasn't been that long that Starfleet has been allowed to be on this side of the Romulan neutral zone without provoking a lot of aggravation from the Romulans. Considering the situation right now, things have changed up a little bit, and you're actually kind of doing the Romulans a favor. Devora says, "All right, I'm going to go ahead and initiate scans. This one might take a little bit longer than normal because of the big cloud in front of us."
Fair enough. We just have to collect the data. Analysis is Big Bird's problem. Much bigger computers than we could ever cram into these things because we have engines for our mass. Why do we have engines that are so prominent for our mass? Rulad, can you tell me?
Why do we have engines?
No, so powerful relative to our mass in these little paragriffins.
You're asking Moranth?
No, I'm asking Tashad Rulan.
Why do we have such awesome engines? You heard Rulan say. So we can fly fast and be a bunch of badasses?
I will accept that answer for partial credit. We also accept such answers as to do barrel rolls nicely.
Do barrel rolls? Is that what they just said? Are we doing barrel rolls again?
No, only one. Everything will ride on this. You have to rehearse until Devour completes this scan. It's going to be a while with that nebula, So whatever you all want to coordinate among yourselves, you've got some time to figure it out.
Commander,
What do you got?
I'm sorry to interrupt, Commander, but I'm detecting a strange anomaly up ahead, gravitational in nature. And about the moment you hear Peaches say that, you hear Devar's voice across the comms go, "What the hell is that?" Just beyond your windows up ahead, you see the nebula warping in front of you. You see it look like it's starting to shift and twist. And it looks as though there's a pinpoint of some kind as it is sort of, it's difficult to describe, as it's kind of like spinning a bit in front of you and twisting. It looks like a distortion of some kind. If you would like to make a check on this, you may.
What kind of check would that be?
This is going to be, let me pull up. Indeed. I think I'm going to call this definitely going to be a science check. So however you want to use that, you may.
All right. I mean, ultimately, this is going to be a hilariously irrelevant result, like on my science. But I'm running my ship system, so I guess ship die as well. And okay, yeah.
Well, you don't have to run a scan here if you don't want to. This is mostly just to find out. You can eyeball this too.
Other than the complication, any reason not to?
I'm sorry?
And apart from the risk of potential complication that comes with adding any kind of die, including a ship's die, any reason not to rely on the computers?
No.
For instance,
if you rely on the computer, then I'm gonna probably force a science check of some kind. But if you want,
but we already were going to have to do science, so I'm in the same place.
What I should say is that if you wanted to use for systems, if you wanted to use something here like say engines, or if you wanted to use something along the lines, you could use sensors as well. But actually, I'm sorry, let me flip this because it would make more sense to make this. Let me flip this. If you want to use your Peregrine and try to scan it, you will definitely need that'll force a science check of some kind. If you want to try to eyeball it, I'll let you use your con, and you can choose which system would make the most sense for you. Because it's literally trying to determine as a pilot who's been out in space to try to find out what it is you're looking at.
All right. Well, I mean, if you're going to offer me con, I'm not going to refuse it. That's
you're
like, you offer me a chocolate chip cookie, I'm not going to refuse it.
You're an experienced pilot. So if you come across some things, you might be able to figure out what it is you're seeing.
Yeah, exactly. That was what I meant here.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. No, but really though, cookies. Okay, then I will roll on my con. I will take a point of momentum for cool. That brings us down to 2 by my math.
It would probably be computers, the study of phenomenon, astrological phenomenon, spatial variations, and stuff like that. So computers and con is probably what you're looking at.
Okay.
Difficulty is 1.
And then I'm rolling, what do we want to call it? Reason con for having a sense of, like, for eyeballing something?
It would be
on my end?
Yeah.
Okay. And
oh, no wonder, because I'm looking at the.
Nope.
Okay, you have no idea what it is you're seeing. It doesn't make any kind of sense, but it looks like somebody's taken a bunch of watercolors and the paint, like if the nebula was a painting that was still wet, it looks like somebody's taking a brush and just like painting us, like ruining the painting by moving it in a circle.
Griffin 1 to Big Bird, do not proceed to point gamma. I repeat, do not proceed to point gamma. We're detecting gravitational anomaly from the nearby nebula. It has what I can only scientifically categorize as bad vibes. Griffin Wing, if let's give this as wide a berth as possible. Prepare spin up warp drives. I want something with better magnifying glass than we have looking at that before I get any of you anywhere near it. Get off vector if you can calculate any sort of direction.
The confirmation you hear come back sounds like this. You hear Devar say, "Hey, Pete, to ends mission. Ander." Okay. Pride does not hear any of that transmission arriving. As that transmission breakup happens, Cadence, your Griffin begins to shake. And the last thing you hear before all hell breaks loose is Peaches say, "Commander," and then your consoles spark. Your peregrine is suddenly hurled violently. For a brief moment, the starfield in front of you begins to warp and you see yourself being hurled. The systems on board your peregrine begin to struggle to stay online as all the lights across the L-cars begin to flicker. You've been in a peregrine enough to know that you are being hurled right now. The peregrine is like hit something and is being slung. And you can feel, even against the inertial dampeners that are trying to keep you in place, the forces in play here are actually causing some rather terrifying screeching sounds to happen outside the hull of the peregrine. I'm going to need you to make a piloting check here.
All right.
Difficulty of 3.
Okay.
Take a moment.
Yeah.
I think I'll do that. Yeah. I think I'll do that.
Someone's mic is picking up a lot of... There we go.
Okay, that's not bad. And there we go. Good. So that gets us 1, 2, and 3. We don't get to roll into our focuses, but it's fine. All 3 dice are successful.
Using maneuvering thrusters, you start slowly gaining control, but Cadence, you start realizing your hand, it's hard to keep on the controls. It's reminding you of your early days at the academy when they were taking you through G-force training, when they were trying to test how many Gs you could withstand pulling high risk maneuvers. You start seeing the tactical display on the Griffin is indicating that you are what would be, if you were anywhere else, would almost be like a flat spin. But right now it looks like the peregrine is just toppling end over end over end over end. The systems keep flickering on and off again. And for a moment, you're not entirely sure that the maneuvers are actually responding. Even though you're using them on the controls, nothing is slowing down. You keep pressing and trying to regain control. You think you can hear Peaches talking to you, but it's hard because over the blare of the alarms going off and the groaning of the peregrine, it's pure chaos. But after a few moments, as the adrenaline continues to push you beyond your limits, you manage to slowly What's that? You managed to slowly regain control. Did we lose somebody? Did Jake just chime in? Is that what I was hearing?
Just a brief echo.
It sounded like an echo.
Yeah, you managed to regain control and finally stop the spin. Your peregrine is currently at red alert and its shields are up, but you notice a lot of the systems and displays are starting to flicker and go offline.
Is that ionic in nature?
You're not sure.
Do I see, is my tactical display up?
It's flickering.
On the flickers, do I see my wing?
You see you.
Flux and stars. Okay. Gidget? Peaches, are you up?
Commander, yes.
Self-diagnostic, are you functional?
Running self-diagnostic. Stand by. All systems functioning.
Okay. Can you wire your sensor readout into my display? Because I'm getting flicker, flicker, bupkis.
Yes. I can give you a display of what my sensors are detecting. Stand by. Commander, the computer core seems to be partially offline.
Partially offline, okay. Elaborate.
I'm detecting what seems to be structural damage of the peregrine. It might require some repair.
Okay, damage report.
Detaching. You hear this thunky noise as Peaches detaches, and you see floating in front of your cockpit window, Peaches just moving around and running a scan.
With the rest of your sensors, see if you can get an astronavigation position.
Understood.
Please.
Microfractures detected all throughout the hull. Evidence of gravitational shearing. Commander, I'm not detecting any other members of Griffin Wing. It's possible that it's just outside of sensor range.
Where are we, Peaches?
Scanning. Navigational star charts would plot us roughly 2.5 light years from previous location.
What, a gravitic slipstream or something?
Unknown, Commander.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, if we knew, then we'd know, huh? All right, so what systems are functioning? What's broken? Do we have comms?
Comms seem to be offline, Commander.
Okay.
Commander, I have
All
to
right.
revise my initial report.
Are you about to tell me bad things about my ship hull?
Previous estimations may be off, Commander. I'm not entirely sure precisely how far from our previous location we were.
Okay, then I'm going to start running diagnostics on our ship computer and communications, and you are going to coordinate with the very latest Starfleet star charts in this little Pear Griffin system to very precisely position us. Sound like a plan, Peach?
I can make the attempt, Commander. However, I do not have long-range communications. I would
You don't
need
need
to...
comms, you just need to look at the stars. If the old Earth sailors can do it, so can we.
I think I understand. I have sight of the nebula.
There you go. Perfect. We can run off that. Any other major stellar landmarks nearby, their position and distance should give us everything we need.
Understood. Triangulating.
I'm about to get some very upsetting information from my computers. I'm going to go and take a poke about the engines and then experience despair as a standard action.
As you unbuckle yourself from your seat, pull yourself up, there's a momentary need to adjust as the internal gravity plating is not functioning quite well as it used to. And as you stand up, you almost float up from your chair and you have to pull yourself back down for a sec. Moving over to your computers, you can see that you do indeed only have about partial power. Communications looks like it's completely down. Navigational data is not uploading right now. You have a rough idea of where you used to be. You can see where Peaches kind of made a navigational error, assuming that you had been knocked about 2.5 light years off course. You can see that the data, it's a mistake, not to sound condescending, but it is a mistake an AI would make trying to basically take the data that was presented to it and not being able to like attach a continuity to where you just were. You're out here. Sensors are telling you with the last bit of sensor data, you were completely alone out here. And there's no sign of Griffin wing anywhere. Communications are completely down. You have no idea what hit you. But you do see Peaches just moving outside and constantly scanning as he continues to just rotate around your peregrine, taking account of everything that is outside the vessel, just looping around and scanning about.
Okay. I'd like to make a bit of engineering to try to
Okay.
get some of my systems up and going.
All right. go ahead and the first thing to do would probably be to find out what's wrong. So I would say go ahead and make me an engineering check.
Okay. I'm going to take my small craft engineering focus for this.
Okay.
Because this is a small craft and I'm engineering. All right, there we go. What was the difficulty I should have asked before I rolled?
Difficulty of this is going to be 2.
Lovely. And is the ship going to be helping, or is the ship just going to be like, I am hurty and broken, I'm so sick, while I run this diagnostic?
That one, you're going to have to use your you're going to have to use a tricorder on this.
Okay.
Handheld engineering.
Do I get to use a tricorder mechanically?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Then that brings the 3 down to a 2, doesn't it?
I didn't catch that.
That brings a 3 down to a 2 in terms of difficulty, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Lovely. In that case, these 3 successes are looking even better. I get a little momentum out of it. Yay.
Okay.
Didn't you say difficulty 2?
Yeah.
Did
Which is why we get the momentum.
But then would it be difficulty 2 down to 1?
Oh yeah,
because I did come in. Yeah,
Mhm.
there we go. Then I
Yeah,
get 2 momentum, bringing it up to a total of, by my calculation, 3.
As well.
Excellent.
You've got with that, you were able to see that essentially the Peregrine has taken serious damage, and it looks like pretty much nearly all systems except for life support have been knocked offline and are going to require repair.
Okay.
You have the equivalent of a single hull breach of damage on the Peregrine right now, which is enough to pretty much immobilize the Peregrine and knock you out for the moment. Repairable for sure, but it's going to require you to like dig into the guts of the Peregrine and start putting things back together again and running diagnostics and doing what you got to do. But you are able to see that there's residual sensor data coming in from the last few moments that you detect just before whatever the heck happened. And you are detecting, unfortunately, it's not able to analyze specifically what it is, but there is a spike in radiation. And there was, from what the sensors logged, what would appear to be some kind of heavy, violent gravitational shearing that was taking place. The computer was measuring something that was coming through, that was actually approaching the ship. And then it went offline.
So if I detected radiation, I would have had to detect it through a given sensor. You know, you have an EM sensor for electromagnetic radiation. You got whatever. What do you think about I give you unobtained information, you give me the type of radiation? What are you feeling? How do you feel about this deal?
Yeah, I'll let you do that.
Okay, I'm going to do that. I do that. 3 down to 2.
You're able to sort of piece together, based off of academy training and what you remember and looking up databases in tricorder, you are detecting undoubtedly the telltale signs of Hawking radiation.
Okay, there we go. All right, black hole inside nebula. Cool. That explains the gravitational shearing.
And it also combine that with the data that the computer logged that something was coming towards you. Back on the Pride. As you were all waiting patiently, Griffin Wing has not reported back in. And a few moments pass before all of a sudden, about the same time Raleigh starts to speak up, the ship automatically goes to red alert. As you see red lights begin to flash up over the bridge and shields go up. Ben immediately stiffens up in her chair and she says, "Report?" And Raleigh says, "I don't know. The ship is reacting to... Oh, Commander, sensor data coming in now." Raleigh's eyes widen and they turn. They open their mouth to say what it is that sensors have detected. And everyone on the bridge is violently hurled to the left as the pride is suddenly thrown. There is this violent, sickening sensation and a horrible, gut-wrenching sounds of what you think is the hull screaming outside as everyone is thrown out of their chairs. Sparks explode across the bridge and the view screen goes completely dark. Everyone feels gravitational force hurling them down to the ground. For a second, the view screen flickers and then comes back online. You see a bunch of the variable, the lighting displays across the L cars flicker and fight to get back up online. Ben screams as she's pulling herself up to the captain's chair. Activate reserve power. A few moments later, Aux crew member at the operations begins to activate reserve power. People start crawling back into their seats. You see Raleigh pick themselves up and pull themselves back into the seat. This curtain of blue blood running down across the top of their forehead as they kind of dazed-like state as they pull themselves back up into the science station. Right now, the Pride is rattling apart. Navigational data starts flooding in as the entire system starts to fluctuate violently. Do me a favor, as you pull yourself up to there, Tavine, I'm going to have you make me a check here. This is going to be...
Yeah, I was going to ask if I could.
Yeah. You need to find out what's going on.
Yeah.
And what's happening. And on that note, Tavine and to Aeon, you can also do what you can if you want to try to figure out what's happening here.
Yeah, I'm going to try to figure out what's
Reason con?
going on.
Reason con works. Yeah.
Okay.
And then you can actually, keeping in mind that one additional person can assist with these roles on top of a ship assist. So if you would like to contribute in here as well to Aeon.
Do I need to have a focus in it to assist or no?
No, not at all.
Okay.
You just need to tell me how you're doing it, but without any knowledge as to what's happening, most I'm sure you would want to do is look at this tactically and like what's going on to find out if you're hit by a weapon or something.
Yeah, I think that's all I can really do in this moment. Like just trying to figure out like, do I know of or have experienced a weapon that would do something like this to a ship, especially our size as well? Yeah, have I experienced anything like this? Do I know what this is, if it was a weapon or not specifically?
You've never experienced anything like this, but you don't actually have enough data right now to understand what's happening. All you're experiencing is the Pride is being violently thrown off course.
Yeah.
The ship is shaking violently. A few of the crew members are still plastered onto the ground from the sheer force of this.
What would the difficulty be on this?
The difficulty of this is 2.
Would you call this increased in difficulty due to environmental conditions or damage to the engines?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, I would like to reduce that down by 1 with push the limits.
Okay.
When you attempt a contest that is increased in difficulty due to environmental conditions or damage to the engines, reduce the difficulty by 1 to a minimum of 1. So I'd like to reduce it to 1.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't think there's anything I can really do to help that makes sense narratively, I think. So I don't think I'll be able to aid in this check.
Okay.
Would you say helm operations, Excelsior expert, warp drive,
Not
subspace
yet.
theory? Any of those check out here?
No.
Okay.
Warp drive, no.
Excelsior expert, just like the way that she reacts. Okay.
Nope, she's reacting like a rag doll right now.
Fair enough. I'd like to buy a die and hopefully I can gain some momentum. And then would I get an assist from the ship at all from like my readouts?
Yes, you would get an assist. So if somebody wants to roll for Pride.
Yeah.
I can roll for Pride.
All right.
So you have to say it.
Roll Pride.
Here we go.
Yeah.
We got you.
Hell
We
yeah.
got you.
Okay.
Dora.
I don't know. Damn it. I keep rolling this. I'm like, yeah, this is great. But I'm guessing this is what is it? Science?
Yeah, so, you know.
Yeah, I rolled a 3, which isn't enough.
No, correct.
Yeah.
Sally Ride,
But
this is not.
success at least.
That
Yeah.
is successful. Yeah,
You got a
that's what
success?
matters.
Yeah. I got
Okay,
one
great.
success.
That is 3 successes from me.
3 successes.
So
Okay, so
4
you're gonna get.
totals. We banked
you're gonna be-
three momentum because I lowered the difficulty by 1.
So okay, yeah.
Okay, that brings us to 4.
All right.
And that was 4 successes total.
You see Hawking radiation is spiking outside the hull. It takes you a moment to believe what it is you are seeing, Tavine. The Pride has basically crossed the stellar plane with what would appear to be a rogue black hole, a singularity that has been passing through space and against 1,000,000,000 to 1 odds has just crossed right in front of the path of the USS Pride. Not only is it crossed in front of the path of the USS Pride, but you have actually just past its accretion disk and have been dragged into its wake and are currently surrounded by what it appears to be debris of unknown nature. You are essentially trapped in the tail of a black hole comet that is racing out into space at subwarp speeds. And the Pride is being slowly torn apart right now. You can
Commander, I exposit to the commander quickly.
Hata Ben always has wide eyes, but the expression on her face would indicate just what you suspect. As being a navigational officer who is experiencing this, the Pride is in serious danger right now. And before we go to break, I'm going to have you, Caitlin, roll me a d20 because the ship has taken damage and is officially being given the shaken condition on top of everything else that's happened.
All right.
Okay, we don't have the stirred trait, so we're okay.
We're good.
Tell me what
I'm going to roll my rainbow die here.
Okay.
It's a 7.
7. And reserve power just goes offline.
Oh,
no! Shutting off. Whatever you've got in the juice, whatever juice the Pride has right now is all you've got. Which is a good time for a commercial break. So we're going to take our break for 10 minutes and we will be right back. Welcome back to the Last Excelsior, everybody. We're back from break. This is Sam. I'm gonna murder face. No,
I'm fine. I don't need lazy nostalgia products. Oh, I should announce, by the way, I no longer have a hidden puppy because during break, I ate my dinner, and then when I put it away, both of the pups jumped down off of the bed, and Dazzler did like 3 spins. Because she wanted the little pieces of bread that I saved her. They both got the 3 pieces of bread. So that's the important announcement.
Yes.
3 spins and a piece of bread.
Yeah.
2 bits. All right. Let's go ahead and jump back to where we left off. Right now, the USS Pride is currently in, we'll just call it turbulence, shall we? The Pride is currently being shaken like a rag doll amongst a wave of gravitational force as y'all are being dragged along by a rogue singularity. Sensors are picking up flickers of objects that are surrounding the Pride, and you are all cognizant of the sounds of things colliding with the hull. As the Pride not only is being pulled along by this gravitational force, you can also imagine the debris that might be caught in the tail of this thing is also slamming into the side of the hull as you're all dragged in line behind it. The reserve power just went offline. So you're not going to be able to call upon reserve power until that is brought back online again. In the meantime, though, down in main engineering, they're picking up the pieces down there as everyone's crawling to their feet and crawling to the controls to run diagnostics and figure out what's going on. But as this is all happening, on the helm's display, you are seeing what looks like the Pride in this wave of gravitational force being dragged along space. The alarms that are blaring right now is proximity alerts letting the Pride know that she is way too close to the event horizon of a singularity. The black hole that's coming through, you are all vaguely aware of the shouting of Evrali over the din of noise as the Pride is shaking violently. And you can hear them rattling off sensor readings, indicating, first of all, sensors are fluctuating. and they're only getting snapshots. But a singularity has been detected dead ahead and is roughly the size of Mars.
What?
Would be classified as a micro black hole or singularity. The view screen is static, but as that indicator comes up, you begin to see through the static that is flickering across the main view screen, the awe-inspiring sight of the glowing of essentially the light burning off of the accretion disk of this flying black hole through space. It is about 60,000 kilometers in front of the Pride right now. And because that it is a micro-sized black hole, the gravitational forces have been magnified significantly. You can see.
Is this like? Sorry, aren't like black holes like the size of like a baseball? Or is this like including the event horizon?
Black holes? No, black holes
Like
vary
the center-
dramatically in mass. They can grow. For example, the supermassive black hole in the center of the galaxy.
Well, I know they can
Could-
get really big, but like a
Micro
micro
black-
at the size of Mars is freaking me out.
a black hole the size of a planet is a micro black hole.
Oh my
Black
God.
holes also theoretically can be the size of a single molecule, believe it or not. In this case, yes, in this case, a micro black hole would be something that's that is planetoid size, would be probably considered a micro black hole.
Okay.
Keeping in size the scale of space, a micro black hole can vary in size, but yeah.
I knew they could get. I knew they could be really small and still be very powerful.
They
so
can be pretty small, yeah.
the Mars
Well-
was throwing me.
Yeah.
So for a sense of scale, on the low end, Planet X, the hypothesized celestial body way out there, is gravitationally consistent with being a
Yeah.
grapefruit-sized black hole. Is
God.
it? Nah. But someone published a paper like, but mathematically it
It
could be. And
Got it,
it's
okay.
like, you're the best kind of correct, buddy. I think I'm quoting, like Ed Whitten or something. It's
Okay,
bad
well, that's
me.
what I
Let's
wanted to-
continue.
Yeah.
Clarify. Was it the event horizon was the edge, or was the whole the center? Got it. Okay, cool. Just
Yeah,
wanted
the
to
event
get
horizon
my
is the
head
point of
around
no
it.
return. If you guys slip over that, you're not in any danger of that right now because literally the momentum of this rogue singularity as it's being hurled through space is actually in front of you. So what the Pride is experiencing is the gravitational pull of this singularity while it is actually dragging you along. So thankfully, because of your positioning right now, the Pride isn't at risk of being spaghettified. However, the gravitational forces that are shaking the hull, you are getting the readout that those gravitational forces that are shaking the hull are largely mostly just a discomfort to the Pride. It was the impact of you suddenly entering into the proximity of this thing that has caused that incredible amount of damage that the Pride just took. And now that you're being dragged along, you're also detecting a lot of dangerous objects and debris that are out here that are being dragged along with it. And you're not even sure how big those are. It could be dragging a moon for all you know. This thing is completely off the map of celestial phenomenon that anybody ever wants to cross. I have some traits to throw at you for the scene.
Yes.
And I also have some traits to give you, Sam. I'll start with the Pride. The Pride is shaken, and currently reserve power is offline. And the traits are the Pride has suffered a structure hull breach, a breach to its communications, which is 2 breaches, and a breach to her engines.
And are all of those level like 1?
Those are level 1
Or-
breaches on each one. Damage reports are coming in indicating the Pride has been heavily damaged by this. Now, just real quick so that I can give you guys some I guess a good way of saying this is if I can give you guys some context. If a ship suffers a number of breaches equal to or greater than the scale of the ship, then it becomes critically damaged and simply does not function anymore, becomes dead in space. Power goes offline, life support goes offline. It's just a husk in space until you can get things back up and running again. And then if it suffers an additional breach, she explodes. when you take any kind of breaches to the engines, there is a roll to stabilize the reactor. However, right now, the Pride seems like she is stabilized. Now, I do want to say that because you've got a single breach to structure, communications, and engines, that's 3 breaches.
Mhm.
So, just to give you guys an idea,
Our scale
that
is
y'all are scale
4?
5, and that is 3 breaches on a scale 5 ship. So it's not
Ooh,
good.
boy.
The Pride is
Nope.
wounded.
Mhm.
So that's the first of your traits that we have. That's not all of them. Because now
Oh,
I've got to
gosh.
give, unfortunately, that's just the state the Pride is in right now. The traits that you have are caught in the pool 2. You know I had to. You know I had to.
No, you didn't. You chose to do this. You could have done otherwise, and you didn't do otherwise. You
There
are
are some
morally
things that are beyond
culpable
my
for this
control.
decision.
There are some things beyond my control.
And yet, you will be held responsible.
Collision dangers 2.
Oh boy. Okay.
Fighting the stick 2. Now, as a quick reminder, this is considered difficult terrain in space. So to even move out of this singularity, you have to burn 3 momentum to do it.
I can't roll for it.
And you can't roll for it. You have to just burn 3 momentum. So if you don't have 3 momentum, you've got to get it. And I'm going to say, in order to get it, you're going to have to overcome. If you're going to move it all to generate momentum, you're going to have to roll fighting the stick and you're going to have to roll fighting against those traits in order to do it, depending on what it is you want to do.
Okay, so currently we have 4 momentum. So we can use 3 of those to be able to make the roll. Is that correct?
In order to, I will let you burn that momentum to pull yourself out of the pull if you are able to get rid of one of these traits.
Okay, so you have to get rid of those traits and then
I
we spend
see.
the
Mhm.
momentum.
Yeah.
to
But
get
right
out.
now, those
Okay.
traits are gatekeeping you guys being able to move at all.
Okay. So then it's to modify a trait. How many momentum? Is it 2 momentum to
2 per
remove?
stack.
Two per stack, yeah.
2 per
Okay.
stack.
I
So
I
fighting-
have a way to potentially get mine down.
Mhm.
The like debris that we have to avoid to get that down. And I'm able to generate some momentum through that as well.
Yeah. If you've got an idea, go for it.
Taeon, seeing that the debris coming our way, or at the very least the readings of debris coming our way, he'll crawl back into his chair and try and quickly strap himself in, knowing that this is not going to we're not going to be settling for a while. And I'll turn to Tavine. Commander, do you think you can get us out of here if I clear the way?
If there's space, I can make it through.
I'll
Find
turn
out.
to Commander Hata.
she just nods and shouts something over to Avrali, and Avrali nods back and starts trying to feed sensor data. And in front of you, to Aeon, you can see again the awesome sight of a singularity just ahead of the Pride at a terrifying range, way too close. You also are detecting on the tactical readouts that there is indeed a lot of damage, but there's also a lot of that debris. Some of it varies in size. The sensor readouts that Avrali is feeding to the tactical display right now, it's difficult to determine what some of these are. Some of them are quite large, and I'm talking like scale 7. So larger than the Pride. And some of them are much, much smaller and are just causing a lot of like death by 1,000 cuts to the hull, smashing into it again and again and again, like flying through a debris field. So nothing you can do about those. The larger objects, though, whatever they are, you might be able to do something about those. The only thing to say is that nothing in front of you is going to work. Firing a photon torpedo here is not going to help you. It's going to have to be phasers if you're going to do this.
Phasers.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to target wherever seems the closest within the readings. I'm going to be going from the closest to furthest.
Okay.
Out.
So the way I'm going
to... we should pick a... Is there a way that we could, like... I don't know, we can roll for it or we can role play it out, but, like, picking a... Like, using a Vrali to pick an exit direction so that you're not going everywhere, just, like, starting in this, like, sort of cone shape, because things I'm sure are going to be moving. But, like, then we could... Is there, like, a mechanical advantage for strategizing like that?
There is, and if you give me just one moment, I will set this up for you. Because I know just what to do here.
There are also aux point related mechanisms that might want to come into play here with a Vrali.
Yeah. That actually we should probably do that. Actually.
Yeah, because again, exactly, because a Vrali can actually start contributing via the aux
you effing slacker sensor jock.
Okay. So
fingers crossed I have better luck shooting this time and it doesn't like blow up and almost take our ship out.
Hey, we didn't blow up last time.
Yeah, I guess true. That's thanks to our captain, but they're not around this time.
Okay. All right. So tell you what, go ahead and basically trying to find that exit strategy. If you want, this would probably be a good spot for an extended task, but I think what we'll do is just keep this simple. And what you need to do is cancel out one of these traits to get a path out of here. So the first thing you're going to have to do is basically it's more of a defensive action until you can generate some momentum. It's kind of a race against time too, because the Pride risks taking damage every moment that she remains in here. So what we would do then is I'm going to say to Aeon, if you want to go ahead and start blasting away and pick something, and then essentially you're going to be carving a space for our Helms officer to try to angle the Pride out of this.
Do I know the difficulty here, or is there no?
Well, the difficulty because of the situation right now, so that's going to be where the traits come into play. Mm-hmm. So with the traits that I've given you, those are going to be collision dangers 2. So the difficulty to fire is going to start at 2.
I have the trait sharpshooter. Does that affect?
What does that do? Sounds like it will.
It was one of the things we got during I chose during a level up. So one of the options was to choose a trait to give myself. And it just said permanent trait that sticks with me. So I went with sharpshooter.
Right.
It's basically being good with guns, I guess, is a
right
kind of idea I went with this. So would that help me in this case, or would that not?
Is it just a trait that has a mechanical? Does it have a mechanical bonus?
No. It's just like how like I guess.
Is it a focus
trait?
It's a character trait. Like a scene has a trait. You're a character who has a trait.
So it'd bring the difficulty by 1.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's like my hotshot. I have a hotshot trait.
Yep.
Yeah.
100%.
So I bring that down to 1.
Yep.
Okay, perfect.
So whenever I'm hot.
Always.
So difficulty 2, and then it's dropped down by 1.
In all honesty, I kind of wish it wasn't now. Can I take that back? Because self-reliant gives me more. I already.
Yeah, you can if you want to. Yes, you haven't rolled yet, so you absolutely
I kind of want to take it.
So you could also take a die to like roll more successes if you want.
Because I have the skill self-reliant. So if I succeed on a check without using momentum to buy a die, I get bonus momentum equal to the difficulty. So like lowering the difficulty gives me less momentum. But I guess
you're more likely to succeed and get one momentum.
Yeah, I think you run self-reliant when it's high probability to hit.
Yeah. Okay. In that case, I undo my undo and be like, yes, I will be using my sharpshooter.
Okay. Point of threat raise the complication range by 1. So now 19 or 20 throws a complication.
Now you do it after rolling 19. Eric, I have a question about the ship traits.
Yeah, what's up?
How come the one about the ship damage isn't called Wounded Pride?
I didn't catch that, but did it say something about Wounded Pride? Did you say something about Wounded Pride? I should have done that. What'd you get, Drac?
I rolled a 1 and a 2, so that's 2
okay
for me. So that's 4 successes.
Okay.
Whoa.
You manage to get
Because I'm-
power out of the phasers, and you begin to realize that, bless her, the pride, beautiful, badass battle cruiser that she is, uses phaser banks and not arrays. And it occurs to you in that moment, to Aeon, that this is actually going to be quite challenging. You don't have the full 360 arcs that you do on a phaser array, phaser bank that you normally do on some of the more modern ships. She hits harder, but she doesn't have anywhere near the kind of versatility of being able to angle just at a stopped position. However, because of the power of those phasers, whatever you hit is blasted immediately. When that happens, I'm going to spend 2 points of threat.
Before you do,
Mhm.
I would like to spend, because I gain 1 point of bonus momentum, and we also made 3 from.
I didn't catch that.
Oh, sorry. I get 1 point of bonus momentum because of self-reliance, because I succeed
Okay.
on that task. So I get bonus momentum. And we get 3 from just me succeeding. I would like to use 2 of them to lower one of the traits.
The collision danger, probably, because that's
Yes,
what
I'd
you
like
were.
to lower the collision danger trait.
Okay. Collision danger is lowered to 1. You drop the magnitude of that down to 1, which is good.
You could do. Could you do
I don't
all
think
of
it's
it?
repeatable. Is it repeatable? Can
Is
I
it
do
not?
that more than once?
I think this came up, and I think we were finding it was not.
Okay.
Not for
Yeah.
a single action. It's not. Yeah, you have to.
God, you got to do it one more time.
You
Got
have to do it again, basically.
Oh, actually, in that case, and then I would like to use my other one of the other momentum to take a second attack. I can have a skill that lets me shoot a second time for 1 momentum rather than 2.
Okay.
I'm gonna fire again. Go
ahead.
The thing. So it's
So you're using phasers.
Yep. I rolled a 1 and a 2 again.
Oh my god!
So that's again 4, and so I get 1 bonus momentum and another 3 floating. And I think because we're using phaser banks with versatile 2, we actually get 2 momentum regardless. Because of that. So I think we're maxed out.
We're maxed out, and we have 5 floating momentum.
All right, then we can knock down a trait, and we could put in some traits of our own.
This is true.
Yes.
So, like 1 stack of trait and 1 stack of fresh trait, because those are separate momentum spends.
Okay. So if we can't, is this all the same turn, or does this count as a new action that can be used?
No, this is the same action. He's basically he's going twice.
That's what I wanted to make sure.
But I did want to point out the versatility trait that the phasers have. The bonus momentum you get from that is temporary. You have to spend it immediately.
That's what we're trying to do.
I
That's what we're putting it in.
I wanted to point that out.
Yeah.
So I think in the order, then for the first attack, I would have used the like temporary bonus momentum to lower down the trait, and then the second time, I would like to create a trait. I don't know. I don't think it's relevant. I was going to say ride the wave.
I mean,
but yeah, I don't know if that's like, because I'm shooting, so I don't think that helps. Your
so you're looking. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 types of traits you can create: a situation, a location, a character, or an equipment trait. So if you're trying to create, it sounds like you're trying to create a situation trait.
Yeah.
Or possibly a location trait. But I think it's a situation trait. It applies to a current situation. It's inherently temporary, lasting no longer than the current scene. Any character in the scene affected by, so like, for example, darkness would be, in this case, debris. So then, if you're trying to reduce that trait down, if you'd like to do that, or what kind of trait would you want to create? What is the effect you're going for?
I'm trying to have it so that instead of us trying to resist the black hole, we'll basically letting the black hole slingshot us.
That's a Helm's officer.
So here's you like a window of opportunity. How is it something like that? Like you made you parted
a gap. Yeah, window of opportunity 1.
Does that work? Or is that too vague?
No, it does. You just have to explain to me what that window of opportunity is so that we can see how you guys get out of it. Keeping in mind you're being dragged along. So what does a window of opportunity look like when you create this trait? That's the only hurdle you have to jump.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You can do it.
I'm thinking Yeah, I'm thinking like I think I'm just quite literally opening up a window of opportunity. I'm shooting a path for us to exit through.
Do you want some GM help? Because I have an idea how this might
Yes.
work. So
Yeah,
because you have phaser banks on port and starboard, you could coordinate with Helm. You could just tell Helm to do something vaguely risky, Cadence style, and bank hard to either port or starboard and lean hard into that turn. And basically, like, because you going forward, you can only kind of move like this or this right now.
Yeah.
But if you can navigate to the edges and kind of use that momentum at that point of gravity, kind of like swim off to the side, because the best exit strategy is basically trying to use your momentum to swing away from the center of gravity and off the disc. So if you want to try to do that, but it's going to require you doing some fancy flying and you shooting your way through with using just one side of the phaser banks.
I think I'll get that across as I'm firing, clearing the path. I'll yell over the kind of din.
Okay, then I would say clearing a path would be good. What I would rule then is if you want to create the trait clear a path, then what I would probably do then is I would probably, if you create clear path as a trait, if you commit to that, what I'll do is I'll make it so the only trait Caitlin's character is going to have to fight against is fighting the stick. It's basically fighting against the gravitational forces of the singularity.
I'm down for that. I like that. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So that was a 2 spend. We still have 3 floating momentum.
Yes.
And
what can we
in
do?
which
we were
case,
gonna get rid of a stack.
yeah,
Can we?
that would be yes. You
That's
can,
be
but
next
you
turn. So I already did it once, right?
no, because that's right. It's the same action, so no, he can't do a repeatable act. He can't
Wait,
do.
but you're doing a
repeatable-
swift action, aren't you? It's not a shot. It's retaining the initiative mechanic when you do your second shot, isn't it?
During a turn action, you may spend 2 minutes to do an additional major action.
No, it just gives him additional major
Yeah.
action, but also
Yeah.
because
Okay,
creating
then it's a separate action.
yeah. So, but also because it's creating a trait and it's not a repeatable action, then it needs to move on to another character. Basically, can't
Okay.
be done with this character's actions.
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
Which means whoever gets the next
I don't
one
think
with the
anything else.
momentum, you can still do what Drac was about to attempt to do, but you would have to burn the momentum yourself. You just won't have all that bonus momentum to do it with. That you just juiced up on, but y'all are maxed out now, yeah?
We're maxed out, yeah.
Yeah. So right now, I have it that you are caught in the pool 2, collision dangers 1, fighting the stick 2, and reserve power is still offline. All right. What are you going to do? Tavine, it's on you right now.
I think it's my turn to do a barrel roll.
Barrel roll. All right.
I would like to unstick us. I want to get unstuck. I want to get out. I want to. We have a path now. We have space. That was what we just built, was some space for me to roll off the fly trap of this.
Final frontier, baby.
Let's get out. Yeah, I want out.
I can just hear Slippy in my head right now.
Okay.
Do a barrel roll.
A barrel roll.
All right.
What I would
So,
like to do.
so you're basically trying to angle the Pride and use what power she has left to put yourself to the edge of this gravitational force.
Mhm.
So then you're going to go ahead and make that Helms check then.
Mhm.
Now the difficulty normally would be at 2 for fighting the stick. Is the only one you're really going to have to go up against.
Okay.
Yeah.
And once again, I assume this is a contest that has been increased in difficulty due to environmental conditions or damage to the engines.
Oh yeah.
All right, so it lowers down to 1. This would
However,
be a...
as you're factoring this though, I had gotten cut off because Drac had said before you do that.
Oh,
and
yeah, that's
so
right. You were
I'm
going to...
Yeah, sorry, my bad. Yeah.
No, that's okay. We got all that worked out. But the 2 momentum spend is to create a cloud of debris. So I'm creating cloud of debris 1 because
Right,
as
okay,
you're
that's right,
pulverizing these things, you're creating smaller dangers, basically.
That's a level 1?
Yeah, it's a level 1. So there's an explosion just outside where the Pride opens fire.
Okay. This is a control con,
Oh yeah,
right?
definitely
Yeah.
control.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely
Okay.
control con.
I didn't know if this turned into daring because it was more dangerous, but
Oh, thank you. Yes, it would be a daring roll.
okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
it
so that's what I was
100% would be.
curious about.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fair to ask. Okay. And then evasive maneuvers, warp drive, helm operations, Excelsior expert. I feel like
Evasive maneuvers would be
I feel like
probably,
I've got
yeah.
this. Okay. So the difficulty was 2, correct?
Uh-huh.
And then I got to lower it to 1 because of push the limits. I would like to buy a die for cautious. Do I get an assist from the ship?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, you do.
I just realized I didn't get an assist for the ship during my shooting. I can roll. I can roll for you the ship.
That would be great.
I mean, you would have
Well,
gotten more
Brad-
successes and we would have had more momentum
And
that
even
we
more
didn't get
momentum.
to spend.
Yeah, to just
But
not spend.
Roll Pride acknowledged and approved.
Thank you. I rolled a 3.
3. All right.
Is that a crit?
Actually, for the Pride, it might be.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's
Would it be?
You rolled.
yeah.
I'm sorry. What did you roll again? What stat did
For
you
me,
roll?
I actually don't know. I just rolled a dice. I didn't even.
I
Just
okay.
what
been
side was-
on,
yeah.
Okay, that's fair.
let's see,
Yeah.
Engine's Con in it, which
yeah,
is
it would be engine. It would be engine's
Department
con. So no,
Oh,
it's
wait.
not going to be.
No.
It'd be engine's con, so it's not going to be a crit. Yeah.
it's still a success though. And I crit and then rolled 2 other successes. So that's 4 successes for me, 5 including the Pride.
Okay. Nice. The Pride starts banking hard to starboard, and there is a lurching sensation in everybody's stomach as you begin to realize the inertial dampeners are currently fighting against this. The systems are failing all over the ship. LCARs are starting to blink and flicker, and you all see the slight tilt on the screen of the singularity in front of you and the glow of the event horizon, the accretion disk that's being dragged like a dark watercolor painting, just smeared right up to almost like underneath the viewport of the Pride. And as you start leaning hard into starboard, you see some terrifying darkened objects that you can barely make out flying past you. Some of them are clearly mountain-sized pieces of rock that are flying past the Pride and are shedding these huge boulders that are the sizes of shuttlecrafts that are flying past you. You can hear the Pride rumble as a few of them strike the outer hull and bounce off the shields. At that point, to Aeon, you see that some of the tactical display has come back into play, and the Pride is currently at 7 points for her shields, down from 18.
Oh, boy. Okay.
You continue to move to starboard, and to Aeon blasts a few more objects. Using that second attack, pulverizes something that's in front. You don't know what it was, but whatever it was actually explodes.
Oh God.
But the explosion immediately is vaporized, evaporates in space behind the singularity. And it's almost eerie watching as this antimatter burst in space. Immediately you see it disperse outward into this beautiful plume of blue fire, converting into plasma and then getting dragged into this strange spaghetti-like formation and then being stretched out across. The Pride just steers right through it, like Fast and Furious, like running like a car, basically rushing through a wall of fire. You basically just watch as the shields go down another point as you guys just basically starboard right in through this wall of blue plasma from whatever it is that blew up.
Oh boy. Okay.
Encouraging sight, though, is as you continue to bank to starboard in this risky maneuver, you actually start to notice just outside the static field in front of you on the view screen, little pinpoints of light indicating you're starting to see some of the stars.
Yeah.
But they are doing what Cadence experienced when they first saw this. You see the gravitational lensing is causing everything to warp around the side of the singularity. Using that momentum to slingshot y'all out, you are moving towards the outer edge of this, I'm going to spend 2 more points of threat.
If you spend threat, is it out of my turn now?
Yeah, this is the result of your action.
Okay. If it then before we leave my turn,
Mm-hmm.
I want to. We have 3 floating momentum. Sorry, that's why I was doing this. So I didn't
Yeah.
forget.
Go ahead.
Before that resolves.
I would like to spend 2 to get rid of. Was it fighting the stick that I was going against in that one?
Fighting the stick, it's at magnitude 2. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'd like to remove 1.
Okay.
And then I would like to spend the last floating for an obtain information.
Okay.
I want to know if I can see, or is there a path in which I can literally use the edge of this singularity as like a slingshot? Like, is there like a way I can get us close enough to the edge and like try to loop us out of it with the least amount of power usage? That's
There
kind
is.
of what she's angling for.
Yes,
Okay.
there is a way.
Okay.
And the 2 threat that I'm spending is there is just an obstacle in your way from doing it.
Sick. Okay, cool. Sweet.
It comes up on sensors, and Ivrali shouts. You can again hear their voice shouting over the din of rattling. But they announce that there's something extraordinarily large just off the starboard, directly in your path. Bringing it up on screen, you see what looks to be like some kind of wall of metal, some kind of metallic object that dwarfs that dwarfs the Pride, utterly dwarfs the Pride. The scale of this thing is about, I would say, close to half the size of Starbase 1. And it looks like it is warped and bent inwards. It's dragging a trail of sparks behind it that just flitter out into space that looks like millions of brilliant stars being dragged along. If you can imagine what it was like if somebody took metal and just scraped it across concrete and magnified that like by 1,000-fold and then spread that out through space, it just looks like this entire trail of superheated metal dying as it flies off the edges of its own body in the wake of the singularity. The Pride is going to have to maneuver past or through that shower to whatever it is that's being dragged along.
I'm so sorry. I just realized that I literally rolled the Pride.
What does that mean?
I rolled. I am roll Pride. I am become roll Pride. I rolled the Pride.
You didn't roll your stats. You rolled the Pride stats. Is that what you mean?
No, I barrel rolled. The
Oh, you barrel rolled the Pride?
I rolled the Pride. I literally rolled the Pride.
Oh, I see.
Sorry.
We are all so proud of you. We are proud of you.
Yeah, dipping to the right, the Pride just passes over. As this Excelsior class begins to, again, the sheer force of all of these maneuvers, the maneuvering thrusters fighting back. At that point, there is a moment where you can all hear briefly Pavan is shouting something over the comms to the bridge, but you can't make out what he is saying, but it sounds urgent as the din of noise in here is completely drowned out by all of this sound. If you're going to make that slingshot, go ahead and do it.
Did Taeyeon get a turn before? Because I just had a turn, or does that?
We're not really in a turn order here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Taeyeon, if yeah, I would say you are going to have to. I'm going to ask you to make this first move. Because Taeyeon's going to have to, because you're going to basically put Taeyeon in the position where he's going to have to act now.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah.
Okay. I would like to buy a die for cautious.
Okay.
You may.
You know what? I want to spend a determination. I am attempting here, like that I'd said, I want to do this with the least amount of power spend and strain as possible. She's attempting to use the environment to her advantage to like keep the ship as, you know, a whole ship. And one of my values is respect the ship and she'll respect you. So I would like to spend a determination to auto roll a 1 on one of these.
Okay.
Because I'm scared.
Yeah.
What do you mean? Why would you be scared?
It's just a feeling that comes over me on occasion for no reason at all. Oh wait, that's my anxiety. Okay, no. Okay. Evasive maneuvers, helm operations, Excelsior expert. I assume this is the same role as last time.
Yep,
Okay,
same
and
thing.
then difficulty is.
The difficulty for this is going to be 4.
Ooh, okay. Drop by 1 because of push the limits. Okay. Okay.
Forgo any of the traits and just give this one big last push with just a flat roll.
And then the pride. I get an assist from the pride, correct?
Who wants to roll the rolling pride?
Sam, do you want to roll? I think you haven't rolled anything in a bit.
Yeah, because I'm not here.
Okay, that's fair. I'll roll it.
No, I actually have always had a secret rule inside my head that, like, if I'm off doing cadence things, I don't get to roll pride.
That's fair. That makes sense.
It means I don't get to roll pride nearly as much as I would like.
So pride's going to be rolling for, I'm guessing, her engines and con for this.
I rolled a 10. Which I don't
Alright.
think is a success.
That's a success.
Is it? No, it is.
That's a
It is.
success.
Yep,
Yes.
pride is 12. Okay, so how many successes total?
I rolled a 1 and a 2 and a 12. All of which are successes, and 2 of them are crits. So that's 5 from me and 1 from the pride. That is 6 successes.
Okie dokie.
How's that taste? Let's go. We have 1 floating momentum if there's anything we can think to do with that in this moment. You also spend it along with another.
Correct. Yes.
Yep.
Keep working down the stack.
Okay, so which one do we want? Collision danger? Can we take out collision danger?
I believe that's down to 1. You might be. Yes, you'd be able to remove that if you wanted to.
Remove it?
Yeah.
Spending 2 points of. Yep.
Yeah. Does that help with our current situation?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I would like to do that.
Okay, you've removed that trait from the scene.
Yeah, let's
Which
go.
means you're going to navigate past it.
Yes.
If you can imagine for a moment, if this was a film, it would be one of those moments where you would hear epic music almost with a backup choir as you're all pulling yourselves away from the singularity and the shadow that passes over the ship as you barrel roll the USS Pride behind this great object. What you see briefly on the view screen, the interior of this metal object, you swear you see almost what looks like the interior of a landscape on the inside of this metal object that has been ripped free. It almost looks like you were looking at the surface of a planet that has been plastered on the inside of this giant metal casing. It has been completely ripped and torn apart and has been dragged behind. That brief moment, you don't fully understand what it is you see before you all feel this single lurch and the Pride spins out. The maneuvering thrusters try to concentrate, but as you actually break free and essentially roll out of the gravitational field, you get enough of that momentum to sort of break out of that tail of this singularity comet that is coursing through space. But as you do, you see suddenly that shift from the view screen of that gargantuan object spin into a star field that is moving past the Pride for a moment and takes a few moments for the Pride to compensate. You working your magic on the hull, the inertial dampeners fighting against everything. Again, a sickening lurching feeling as people are once again thrown to the ground. And you manage to regain control of the Pride. As you do, you hear Hata immediately shout, "All stop!"
I do so.
Engines answer to all stop. You immediately bring the ship to full stop, and Hata stands up. "Damage report." You see operations shakes their head. Ops crew member turns back and says, "Reports coming in from all over the ship. Sick bays reporting in. They're still picking up the pieces down there, ma'am." Hata immediately gets on the comms and starts giving a check-in to every deck, asking the officers of every deck to report in immediately their injuries, their casualties, and an immediate damage report. Damage control teams are starting to report to their stations. as the reports are coming in from all over the ship, you learn that a lot of crew members on the Pride were hurled about, and many of them thrown to the ground and weren't able to get to their damage control stations and are only just now starting to assess. Vrali looks completely oblivious to the fact that there is just blue blood pouring down the side of their face. Instead, in a very morbid fashion, you see a small smile on their face. They're still quaking in terror, but you see they're transfixed on the view screen. And anybody who follows their gaze, you can see this singularity disappearing, gravitational lensing falling after it. Sensors are tracking it. But Arvali says, sending a log to Starfleet, letting them know that there's a black hole out there.
A logical course of action.
I think that was the piece of a Dyson sphere. They just say, rather confused, looking at everyone else. Pretty sure that we saw the debris of a Dyson sphere.
Can we tell what direction it came from? The Griffin. We haven't heard back from the Griffin wing.
Cut 2. You are on your back right now, your face in the guts of this peregrine, working your engineering magic as best you can, Cadence. So I'm going to have you make a repair check. This is going to be engineering. You've got your emergency engineering tools out. You're not going to get an assist on this, unfortunately.
No, we've got Peaches doing other things.
Yep. Peaches is a bit busy right now, but yeah, this is going to be your standard engineering role. And what I'll call for here is, hold on one sec. You've got a single breach you're repairing, essentially a damaged system with comms down.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, because you're scale 2, is that correct? Yeah, so you've taken half. So comms isn't destroyed.
I'm scale 1.
You're scale 1, comms is destroyed. You have no communications.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not scale 2.
Right.
No.
You're scale 1. Okay, that's right. Scale 2 would have been like a runabout. Yeah. Comms is completely destroyed. However, yeah, you can still do some repairs here. So yeah, go ahead and make your engineering check. I'm going to say during this whole endeavor, you've been working on the ship. So yeah.
So remind me the difficulty once more.
This is going to be a daring engineering task, and it is difficulty 2.
Okay. And less what we dropped for the scene change. What are we at momentum wise, Tavine?
We only lost 1 and we're at maximum, right?
So then we would be at 5. So I'm gonna take us 1 for 5 down to 4. Let's see. And then this is going to be, thank goodness for daring engineering. That means we have 2.
2
successes. Yeah.
So you've been working on your peregrine for about 30 minutes now. You can see where some of the damages are. You've also been able to determine that the microfractures in the hull are not an immediate danger, and that she should be able to withstand going to warp if she needs to. As you're sitting here working on this, there's a spark and all the power goes comes online.
Okay. All right. Comms.
You feel a weight on your chest as gravity reasserts and you are in business. Comms looks like it's completely fried.
Okay. What isn't?
Everything else looks like it's operational. Navigational data, everything else is coming up online. Okay. You hear short range comms are possible here. So you're receiving, but it doesn't look like you're able to send out anything, at least not outside of short range. And that's where you have Peaches moving around outside.
Right. Okay. Okay. Well, let's do the painful thing that we were all dreading Sam would have to do. So let's see. On this roll, I'm speaking, of course, for a reason. Science check for sensors.
Okay.
No one wants me to do this. Like, this is.
You'll get an assist from
unattractive.
Peaches.
Okay. Well, roll Peach.
If you want to spend an Aux Crew
Roll
die
Peach.
here, you can activate Peaches as a member of the Aux Crew to give you an assist.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Okay. I'm going to roll for Peaches. I didn't think I'd ever say that.
No.
If I had a nickel for every time I've had to say that.
Peaches rolls.
Oh, what was the difficulty, by the way?
Oh, the difficulty is 2.
Okay.
I think I played a Peaches in a charity one-shot once, so I think I have actually rolled for Peaches many a time.
Let's see.
Did you get a success?
I'm double checking my numbers. No. I did give you a complication, though. That is no successes, 1 complication left, Beef.
Okay.
No.
Here's your complication. You do not detect any of the Peregrine fighters in the immediate vicinity in the short-range sensor scan. It's possible that they spun out and they're having similar issues as you. You are able to determine that it was a singularity, a rogue singularity that was that lensing you were seeing as this thing was flying through a nebula.
Oh, yeah, it's some science stuff for sure.
Yeah.
I'm looking for my people. I'm not going to lie. The things that aren't my people won't be the thing Cadence is looking for.
Sure.
Sam would appreciate the information.
If you
Cadence
want,
won't even process it.
Yeah, I was going to say, okay, Cadence is focusing on that. Yeah, because otherwise I can just leave out everything else and just let it happen to you. But
yeah, that's perfectly fine and in fact preferable because Cadence is focused and yeah.
Cadence would not miss because the complication that is coming up, you're still going to see it coming, but you essentially see what you have to imagine is a debris field that has been dragged along by this singularity that is currently approaching your position at lethal speeds, which you can only imagine a cloud of debris that has been dragged through space, probably through this nebula.
Perfect. No, that's perfect. All right, Peaches, here's what we're going to do. We are going to fly by the scary, scary debris field. We're going to get a sense of the range of vectors until we can reconstruct most probable locations. Because that singularity is dragging along everything with it, like sand in a wave. If we can figure out the dynamic of the wave, maybe we can find the movement of the sea pebbles. So, what this is going to require is, well, finish up what you're doing back there, and then you're going to want to hook in, because we're going to do some thrilling heroics.
You hear a thunking sound, and you say, "Yes, Commander, I've already engaged the docking sequence. If I may, your plan is quite clever, and I'm interested in seeing it carried through. Might I recommend an immediate evasive action, however?"
Oh, this thing? I'm going to make the evasive action.
Yeah, at the last possible second, as this stuff is literally about to collide with the ship.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Cool as a cucumber. Go ahead and make your check, and whoever wants to roll con.
All right, I'm going to take 1 for cool. That's down to 3. And yes, if someone does want to roll against disappointment, I've been sort of rolling for stealth ship over here. But if someone does want to roll for, fail to roll under an 8.
Okay.
8 is the number that we're going to be bad at.
Rapid die that looks like a nebula.
The difficulty of this is 2.
Okay.
Thank you, Caitlin.
All right, that gets us 2. We're good.
2 successes.
How deep is
wait,
that
I get a reroll.
complication? How deep is that complication range?
It's only 20 right now. I didn't raise
Oh,
it.
it's fine.
Oh, then we're fine. I'm good.
Yeah.
Okay,
you're
let's
fine.
No successes though.
Okay.
Yep, 2 successes.
You go into your mind palace. You lose thought and do what you do best. Cadence, as you slide into the chair and clip yourself back in, you punch up a couple of the controls, the maneuvering thrusters activate, the engines come back online, the blue glow of the warp core begins to emanate, and just as a debris field of rock, metal, and all sorts of detritus come flying at you at sublight speeds, you start dodging through it, blasting through and doing, as they might say, perfect barrel rolls. You flip through one section of this cloud, then another, and it's gone. You are seeing the alert go off in your tactical sensors, indicating that you just passed through yet an aftermath of a gravitational wave.
All right. Hey, see, we're making the metaphor literal. See, because we're made out of metal, so we're the stone, and then it's the gravity.
That was most proficient flying, Commander. Well done.
Don't flatter me like that. I get enough of that from my pilots, Peaches. All right. So that was some good debris. That got us some nice baseline. We're going to need movement over time. So let's see. It's going that away. That means it's pulled that away.
You see Peaches automatically starts feeding you navigational data of the speed and trajectory of the entire Griffin Wing.
Of the what?
Of the entirety of Griffin Wing. And you see the last known trajectory and speed locations of Griffin Wing to like help triangulate. You see it all come up, and Peaches starts calculating based off of what you're telling him. Peaches starts calculating possible trajectories.
All right. So we're going to have too many possibilities, and we're going to need to get data to narrow that down. Easiest way is if we can get more data on debris moving. So I'm going to end over end and Surfing USA, the debris field that just whooshed past me, because that means it is being pulled.
Mm-hmm.
So if I want to see more debris back in probably the direction, because it was coming toward me, I'll get more data if I go that away.
Well, just to clarify, it's not actively being pulled. It's just it is in the object in motion stays in motion kind of situation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But that's something that's being pulled.
It's
and also there would still
the
be
trail.
gravitational force acting on it, whether that's sufficient to counter it from its own.
It's not actively
mass
engaged
depends
with the
on the
gravitation.
existence of a celestial object nearby.
It's not actively engaged with the gravitational field of the singularity. However, it is still being affected because it was put in motion by and is following the trail of. So it functions the exact same way. But just so to make sure that there wasn't any confusion. But yeah, essentially, yes, you can do what can absolutely do.
I mean, there also isn't going to be anything nearly as gravitationally forceful to counteract it. So it's still we can
totally
exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
So we're on the same page. The point is Surfing USA with thrilling piloting.
Okay, cool. This sounds like you could absolutely create a trait here if you wanted to.
Yeah.
To help you locate, because right now you have missing fighter wings 4 is one of your traits. You also have
that's a funny joke.
Because you have absolutely so that's why I'm saying that, like, if you buy down the I'm sorry, I misread that. It's missing fighter wings 2, but it's 4 current missing fighter wings is what I meant to put there. What you can do is you can create a trait, or you can basically what I would say is creating that trait would permanently lower it wouldn't be necessarily creating trait. I think what it would do is just be reducing the difficulty of the trait from 2 down to 1. If you wanted to burn momentum to do that.
Sure, fine. Yeah.
Otherwise,
that would bring us down to 1. Yeah.
Everything you roll related to trying to find them is going to be difficulty 2 flat out, unless I add more to it. But if you want to reduce that down to 1.
Yeah, that's fine. Y'all, sucks to be you. You're down to 1.
We've been generating momentum pretty easy, I think. I think we're good.
I mean, you say that now.
I am going to be as the personification of hubris until it bites me in the ass.
Y'all also have Ox Crew, so you can always tap your support crew.
Yeah, but yeah, well, I mean,
So, what would you like to do? You spin that 2 trait. So you,
yeah, the thing I said, I want to do that. I imagine there's piloting rules about it.
you did. You reduced. So you basically reduced that down by burning it down to 1. So
Yeah.
if you engaging in an active search pattern based off of that, if you want to make a roll, you certainly can, and it's going to be a sensors check. But it's going to be only against a difficulty of 1 this time.
Okay. All right. In this case, the number for disappointment is 7.
Peaches, I'm guessing. I wrote peaches.
You have to spend an Ox point for that.
Oh,
do
Yeah, no, we're not.
That's for the
it's
fighter.
Not Peaches, it's just
it's-
the Paragraphin.
Yeah.
By the way,
I wrote
the
it.
first Ox point for Peaches that came from Aether Spoon. So thank you so much, Aether Spoon,
Thank you,
for
Aether
activating
Spoon.
Peaches.
Yay.
Okay, I wrote a 5 for the paragraph.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, then that's 3 successes. That gets us 2 momentum back. There you go. You don't have to be the personification of hubris, because also that's my job.
Okay. You see a ping on your sensors. There's a Peregrine Falcon dead ahead. Looks like it's currently in a gentle rotating spin, kind of end over end, almost balled up.
All right.
Curiously enough, though, it looks like it's not drifting very quickly, which means whoever is in this particular Peregrine, whoever the pilot is, actually managed to gain some control and keep from spinning off into deep space.
Cadence is going to pick up a pad
Mm-hmm.
and is going to type a name on it
Okay.
and then turn back to their controls.
Making a bet with himself. Calling the shot on who got it.
Maybe. It's the worst when your sister's just in your head like that, and yet not actually, in your head or anything. How far? Like just here?
Yeah, you're closing in on them. It's a narrative scene, so we don't have to worry too much about the zones right now. So yeah, you're basically closing in on them.
All right. I'm gonna since my comms are down, I'll blink my headlights.
You see the spin comes to a slow stop, realizing in that moment that it looked like it was a controlled spin, and they just kind of bring it to a slow stop. And for a moment, there's no reply. And you already know it's because they're trying to raise you on comms. And when after a few moments, they begin to flash lights back.
Status.
Ship is operational. Warp is down. Managed to establish sensor link up with Devar. Currently searching for Marceau. Last known location of Morinth. Comms were up. Did not know where she was.
All right. Send locations. Marceau and Devour.
You start getting the uplink. Devour looks like he has created a very clever computer uplink to Morinth's Peregrine, and looks like he's currently powered down, but he is drifting in y'all's direction. Like he's slowly creeping his way over.
Okay. Kids, sit tight. I'll find Straggler.
Okay. You see the confirmation.
If anyone can comms Pride. do so.
You see the blink flash come back. Devar has comms for long range. We'll see to it that he sends.
Hmm. Roll drill suspended. And then I'm going to go take off.
Okay. You bring her about and head out.
Okay.
You did have Morant's location. So as you fly past, you can see Devar slowly making his way under thruster control towards Moranth. I'm sorry, towards Rulon. Morant's
all
location.
supposed to stay where they are. Okay, if I see one of them moving, stop, flip, stay.
Oh, they're going into formation. You want them to stay exactly where they are?
Because then they can comms a location to the Pride.
Sure.
Yeah.
For whatever
Yeah.
reason, if you wanted them to stay exactly where they are.
Yes. It's kid lost in a grocery store rules.
Sure.
Stay put.
Devar, then in that case, you would fly past him and he is doing as he's ordered.
Yeah.
But you do.
Little ducklings don't follow.
He does feed you the information of where Moranth was last located, and you do find her. Her peregrine looks like it's in good shape. Like she looks like she actually missed the most of it. She also tries to raise you on comms and goes through the motions of realizing you don't have it. However, as she tells you that her warp core is also offline, can get it back online. Her problem is that she's been injured.
Okay.
And she tells you it's not good. She hit her head really hard on the console. Currently, she's used a hypo spray on herself, and she thinks she'll be all right, but she'd appreciate a tow.
Yep, that was exactly what I was thinking. Dang. Technology's gone too far. I'm upset. Peaches, can you run a tether over?
Yes, Commander.
Cadence is thinking back to this is not their first tether, but this is the first easy tether. They have very specific EVA training, peregrine to peregrine, to pop a tether on, and that's a fun EVA. But no, now technology's gone too far. These youth with their hair and their music and their easy tethers. Anyway, I'm before I tow Moranth, I actually, you know what? I'll probably need to EVA because I'm gonna get her over here.
Okay. You're gonna suit up?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, because we don't have weight.
You do. In fact, are you in one that has, because I know at least one of you has one.
No, that's the weight was I need to roll 1d4.
The evacuation specialist.
Correct.
Yeah.
Which I guess now is 1d3. Because I know which one I'm in. I know which one Dvaor's in. Meaning at this point, it's just a 1 in 3 chance.
You could spend momentum and make it so.
I could.
It's 100% one of the examples given in the core book of using momentum to just, oh, look, it's a good thing I had this on me.
So true, Eric. Yes. But roll dice, more fun.
Have at it.
So on a D6, 1 or 2 is a yes. Anything else is Sam should have taken the easy solution.
Okay.
Oh, it's a 1. All right. Okay. Technology's gone too far and it's denying me EVA.
So basically, for those of you who are confused as hell as to what's going on, one of the Peregrine Falcons actually has an advanced transporter unit on it that allows Peaches to tag somebody and beam them out of a dangerous situation. Just so happens that Delara Moranth is in a dangerous situation right now in her Peregrine. She, however, does need to suit up into her EVA so that Peaches can get in there and tag her. So with that, she is going to have to pull herself into an EVA suit.
Well, no, she's. I rolled for her to be in the evac specialist.
Oh, she's in it?
Yeah, so she can activate off of her own to me.
That's true. Yeah,
destination.
she could beam directly over to your
then
paragram.
she does it because I don't want to EVA someone with a head injury. That's bad energy.
Okay. She's going to
for
immediately.
all my technology's gone too far. Jokes. Better to not if we can avoid.
Okay. She transfers her command codes of her paragram to your paragram so that you guys can find it again after she powers it down. So that way
Because I've got it on the tether, I can pull it back to Dvar's location, and then we have 2 ships centralized.
That will help because she didn't want to have to scuttle the ship. It's not like it's wartime, but you want to leave it out here. But it's getting towed back anyway.
Yep.
She gets on her transporter pad, schedules the paragram for shutdown, and a few moments later, you look back over your shoulder in time to see this blue curtain of energy start to materialize in the back of the very small space that you have here on the paragram, literally large enough for just you and one other person. She beams in, and as soon as you see her materialize, she looks like she has applied a very proficient field dressing to the side of her head. Looks like she's got a bandage going around both sides of her head, but you can see that blood has leaked through it a little bit. She made sure to beam over here with her med kit from the paragram so that you have 2. And she smiles at you weakly, and the Betazoid just looks at you and says, "Permission to come aboard."
Granted, it looks like you very expertly applied ship console to your face. I gotta recommend you not do that again.
She weakly smiles and says, "Thank you, sir. Have you ever had a black hole thrown at you? This is kind of a new thing, right?"
It's not the most common thing that comes up in our line of work, but they say be prepared for everything. So we were underprepared. That's on us. We're gonna have to take accountability for that. We're just gonna start getting your ship towed back to Devour. That's where, if the Pride hasn't been, I don't know, eaten by a roving singularity, we should be awaiting pickup.
She nods and sits down into the bunk space in the back for medical evac, and she slides herself into that space and just exhales.
It's awkward riding along with Pippa, but you have the head injury, and I'm not letting you unsupervised.
You see her smile. She says, "Please don't make me laugh right now."
Well, then you're in extreme luck, because I don't know if you know this, but I have Vulcan upbringing. That means I don't make jokes.
No, I never actually. I didn't want to ask, but is Tavine your sibling? There's a betting pool going around. Nobody knows for sure, but there's a pool going around. There's a scuttlebutt about whether or not y'all are related.
Cadence will because they're just doing a basic tow, so it's good for autopilot. They're gonna get up down to the bunk, lean in. How big a betting pool?
She stares at you for a moment and says, "What do you mean?"
I mean,
what betting pool?
the betting pool you just told me about with my sibling. I want a tricord.
You pull out a medical tricorder?
Apply medical tricorder directly to the face. No, we don't like someone forgetting things they just said. No.
You run a scan on her. Quick scan doesn't require a roll. Medical tricorder reads back. She has taken a severe concussion and looks like she has may have some trauma to her neck as well.
Okay.
Also, her collarbone might be fractured from what the medical tricorder is showing. You can see like little bitty microfractures all throughout her collarbone. She is playing it tough right now, but the concussion's really bad. it looks like she is probably going to need to be reporting to main sick bays the moment she gets
Yeah,
on
am I
board.
seeing any signs of like subdural hematoma? Am I seeing like, is there an active bleed?
For that, you're going to have to make a medicine check.
That's fine. This is
Yeah.
very serious.
Yep.
What you don't want is things to get worse.
Yeah.
What's the difficulty?
Head injuries are incredibly serious. Difficulty
Yes, we
for
fuck
this.
if not with them.
Difficulty of this is 1, and that's with
Okay.
it reduced down from the tricorder.
You want to take a momentum?
Let's see. Yes, that would bring us 3 down to 2 by my calc. Because I just got a good chunk of them.
Yes. Oh yes. Sorry. Yeah. I was
Yeah.
could conceptualize numbers for a second.
Okay. And was that yes, it was down to difficulty no more than 1, I presume. So then that was with medical tricord. That's with a 3rd die and whoosh. Ho! All right. Let's see. That should. I'm calling this control medicine. Would you rather call it reason medicine?
No. Control medicine would be
Okay.
the accurate way of doing that. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. It doesn't actually matter. That's 2 successes.
Okay. Thankfully, because the GM does not have any more threat to create traits. No, it doesn't look like there's any internal bleeding at all. It just looks like it's a really bad concussion, and it also looks like she's gonna. Her neck looks like it's messed up. It's gonna hurt like hell tomorrow. But the concussion's pretty bad. She definitely followed the standard procedure of not closing her eyes, but it looks like she's given herself a stimulant. So it might be that before she beamed over here, she may have done a quick a check on herself, but it looks like she's given herself a mild stimulant to keep her awake. However, that hypo spray is having the side effect of giving her what would appear to be a hell of a headache right now on top of everything else. So she is currently just staring at you. And when you say the thing you just told me about, it takes her a moment as you start scanning her. She just goes, "Oh shit.
Yeah.
Is it that bad? How bad is it?"
The tricorder says not that bad, but I can hear
Right.
light years away the chief medical officer saying that's none of my business to determine. That is for whatever they tell you over in sickbay. So I'm going to get you and your ship to Devour. We're going to get you to Devour because I may be called upon to do thrilling heroics of the piloting variety, and you're not going to want to have that inertia on that neck injury.
No, thank you.
No, yeah, you're not going to want to have that. You're going to be so annoyed in like a week from now when you still aren't cleared to fly with that neck injury. It's going to suck for you. But don't worry, that's not a right now problem because we're isolated in space because a roving singularity came and smacked us up. So we don't even have to worry. I'm making my way back to the piloting station.
You make your way back. Sensors is detecting a vessel, a new vessel, roughly in the same location where you left the Peregrines. It's not identifying what it is.
I'm raising shields.
It's yellow alert, shields go up.
Yeah. All right. Time to do the comedy laugh once more. The number again is 7.
Okay.
I'll roll for it.
All right. Good, because I do have 1 success, meaning
I got a 7 exactly.
Hey, look! All right, that's 2 successes. Was that enough for the comedy laugh? Identify the ship.
Yes, it was.
Okay. What was the difficulty? So I know for momentum purposes. I really should ask this stuff.
The difficulty of this was only 1.
Okay, cool. Then we get 1 momentum out of that. That should bring us up to 4. Okay. Yes.
It is a Klingon, looks like a civilian Klingon ship. A freighter of some kind.
And it's there and my ships aren't?
No, it's there and your ships are there, but it's closing in on those ships.
Are there. Got it. Okay.
You're muted.
Sapphire muted.
I'm getting to my ships first.
Okay. You immediately...
Like, not because it's a thing, it's a civilian vessel. Like, obviously I'm not worried, but also I'm there first.
Okay. As you make your way back to where you left the rest of the wing, you see, indeed, it looks like a very large freighter, scale 4 ship. Looks Klingon made. It looks like it has large cargo holds. It is slowly approaching.
Okay.
You can hear through static on the comms that somebody is trying to contact, but the comms are like basically coming off like whining, whistling sounds. There's no way to determine what the hell is being said.
Peaches, can you relay Moranth's comms? Because those comms are functional. So if we can just bounce it over back and forth through her ship,
yes,
maybe
Commander.
we can actually talk to someone.
I can
as
function.
much as I would love to play holophone.
Yes, Commander. One
Thanks,
moment.
Peachy.
Commander, I'm afraid
Commander,
I'm afraid I'm going to require the command codes. It would appear that Lieutenant Moranth closed down and shut down their peregrine.
all right. My command codes will be sufficient.
Understood. Standing by. You see behind you, the peregrine begin to power back up again. Systems loading. Interfacing.
Good. If they weren't sufficient, if Moranth had locked me out, oh, we were going to have such a problem.
Online. Picking up a signal.
Probably. All right.
Coming through now, Commander.
Thank you.
I'm going to connect directly. I will be using my comms to beam the transmission directly into the peregrine. Stand by.
Perfect.
The static comes through, and you hear Marceau's voice say, "Come in, Griffin Wing. Is everybody alive?"
Marceau, this is Griffin 1. Report.
Hi, Commander. Yeah, good to see you. Turns out there were some friends in the area. I got myself spun out pretty good, got picked up by this Klingon freighter here.
So to whom must we send thanks for the freighter aid?
And you hear a familiar voice come over the comms. And you hear this grating voice say, "You have Chak, son of Kusto, to thank, you miserable Patak. To find you out here, after all these years, spinning out in space like a rookie pilot. And I had such high opinions of you."
Ha! Goes to show you the error of your ways.
Well, how about pull in those puny fighters of yours and put them in my cargo hold and take you back to whatever silly little Federation base you come from?
We're looking to rendezvous with our ship, but either way, I've got to have something in this puny, fragile little vessel that's worth drinking.
Stand by. Engaging tractor beams.
All right. Easy. She's got gravitational shear stress on her.
A few moments later, you find yourself stepping onto the deck of an old Klingon freighter that has been repurposed again and again and again and again. You see it's a cargo hold that's pretty much just a giant cargo hold with a cockpit and a warp core and sleeping quarters. As you are disembarking from your peregrine, you see a very familiar face you have not seen since the Dominion War. You see him striding across this deck, this large Klingon. Face still, even Chalk is known for the fact that even though he has those big fuck off Klingon beard with the beads all dangling from the ends of them, you still cannot, he's still recognizable because of the laugh lines that have permanently creased themselves into his face. He looks like he's put on a little weight. Maybe he hasn't been doing quite as much maneuvering in some high-speed fighters as you. But as he approaches you, he doesn't give you much of a chance before he forgoes smashing his head into yours and instead puts his arms around you and says, Cadence, Cadence, Cadence. You're still alive. You're still alive, old friend. And then pulls you back to take a look at you.
Chuck the Patak, how are you?
Oh, don't go saying that around my crew. They'll pick it up and then they'll never stop saying it. And it takes
Well,
a
same
lot
to
of
you for
resources
Visa.
after you kill one of your crew members to replace them.
I should be so lucky to have pilots like you. I'll tell you about the barrel rolls later, and I would like to spend momentum for opportunity cost for a thing worth drinking.
Okay. We'll say that much like an old engineer's tradition, that every now and then you have been known to break protocol and store something on your peregrine on the off chance that you crash down on some desert planet and get marooned there.
You mean the thing I gave my pilots shit for?
That's the very one.
Just last episode? What kind of commander would do such a thing? Yeah, okay, sounds good.
He laughs heartily as he sees you withdraw the bottle, and he says, "You're always prepared. Well, let's find out what happened to you and where we can take you."
I would appreciate it. Be advised, I don't know the trajectory of the roving singularity that
Roving
knocked
singularity?
us around.
Ugh.
Yeah.
We did detect enormous gravitational anomalies in this sector of space. We've also detected a few ships passing through the area. One of them is a Federation starship. Would that be yours?
It certainly could be. I am still flying with the Federation.
Well,
Hopefully
no one's
it's ours. Yeah, you would know.
Cut to coming out of warp with Griffin Wing safely stored in the hull. As you emerge from warp on the coordinates, the last known coordinates of where the Pride should have exited during the last nav point, you do see her. She is dramatically off course, and it takes a hot second to get to her. But when you do, you see the condition she is in. Yes, she definitely got hit. You can see the flickering light of one of her nacelles that is barely functioning and flowing with power. You can also see that some of the decks have lost power. Just from the outside, you can see shearing in some of the hulls, visible hull breaches on the main hull and the secondary hull. All things considered, this could have been so much worse. But as you start closing in and checking in on the damage, Chalk says, he looks at you, that jovial demeanor dropping away, and he says, "We have some engineers on board that can help if we're allowed."
Pending my captain's authorization, but as far as my wing's concerned, I'll take it. On the condition that you tell my deck chief I sent you.
You're setting me up for something. You've done this before. I remember you too well. But agreed. As we wrap out, the butcher's bill is not good. Pride has sustained heavy damage and is going to require a tow or repairs. 91 injured. 12 of them are seriously injured. There were 7 fatalities. All things considered, could have been so much worse. You also find out that the singularity that the USS Pride encountered has not been charted by Starfleet before. However, the navigational data that you will have all acquired by running into this thing, the science teams have been dispatched to track the singularity as it's moving through space and are able to start plotting its course to avoid this ever happening again. However, the most important thing, though, is as the repairs are undergoing, is that word does get back to Starfleet brass. And when it does, Admiral Rollin, reading the report back at Starbase 1, looking at his data pad, calls in his yeoman and immediately schedules a meeting with the USS Pride command staff as soon as possible. But a small smile comes to his face amidst all of the shock and awe of the report, which is incredible enough for an admiral to be reading about. He puts the data pad down and he says, "Computer, compile the data of the performance of Griffin Wing during this operation. I gotta show command something." Compiling. And he just shakes his head with a smile. And with that, we'll bring a close to this episode of The Last Excelsior.
Let's go, Griffin Wing!
Let's go. Put respect on the wing.
And put some respect on the wing, yeah. So when we come back next week, will probably be the aftermath of this, and we'll still have Chalk. Chalk will still be here. Y'all have got some catching up to do.
Good, because I'd never get tired of him and never get chalk bored.
Yeah, good time to exchange some of the rumors that are going around on this side of the galaxy. You guys are on the far. It is worth noting, Chalk is all the way out here on this side of the Romulan neutral zone. He is far from home. This is far galactic north of the Klingon Empire, so he's probably got some stories. He's not KDF, so he can kind of travel where he wants really at this point, so long as he's being nice. So we'll see what happens. But GG, everybody threw in some pretty awesome rolls.
Some of the best rolls I think I've done so far in this game. That was awesome.
Yeah, difficulty 6, I think, or 6 successes, I think, is a personal record for Tavine.
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
Well done.
That coupled with Taeon's like sharpshooting and blasting objects out of the way.
Yeah, literally. So
Yeah.
I was like, are we sure Tan doesn't get another turn before I have to go? Because I would really...
Queering a path over here.
Exactly. Always.
All right, y'all.
Over here on the USF.
That's going to wrap us out for tonight. Thank you so much for joining us for another Star Trek adventure. We look forward to seeing you again next Monday night for the next episode of The Last Excelsior. Thank you to our Aux crew, as always, for not only your support, but your contributions to tonight's story. We will see you next Monday night. Until then, friends, hailing frequencies are closed.